Good morning. Assalamualaikum. Thank you for joining us this morning. So this is the last day of our conference, which is an online conference for LITEC 2020. Thank you for joining us today. I would like to remind our audience to sign in to your Microsoft 365 account, and we would like to welcome everybody in here. Before we start the session, let me introduce myself. My name is Zahiruddin. I'm standing in actually for Dr. Azza, who's going to be here probably at 10 o'clock today. So a reminder for the participants who join by streaming, just sit back and relax and enjoy the 3-day session. So this is our last day, as you don't need your microphones or camera. Throughout the presentation, if you want to ask questions, and we really like to ask you to ask the questions to our presenters, you can do so by clicking Ask the Question box on the right side of the screen, and you can type in your question. Note that there will be around 10 seconds delay for the questions to reach us. And you also may view the session after it ended through the same link that we gave you this morning. And the link can also be found in LITEC's website and our program book. Guidelines for presenter, for those who just joined us. Presenter has only 20 minutes to present their project, including the Q&A, and the moderator, which is me, is going to choose and read the questions for the presenters to answer. For each of the project, there will be 2 review panels who will be evaluating the presentations based on certain criteria. These are understanding of the area of teaching and learning, innovation of the project, and also impact on the community and the society. So our presenters today, this morning, will be Dr. Lily Azura Shoaib, Dr. Surveyor Kalsum Zulkifly, Dr. Yeoh Yin Yin, Dr. Shirley Chua, who will be presenting via video, Dr. Kumutha Malar Vellasamy, Dr. Ent Seminar Zulkafli, Madam Shariza Shahruddin, Dr. Irene Yong Seok Ching, and the review is already here. So, and we are already at 9 o'clock. So I would like to introduce our first presenter, presentation C22, Personalized Learning Module based on students' learning style, which will be presented by Dr. Lily Azura Shoaib.
Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Okay, Assalamualaikum. Okay, I will just PowerPoint slideshow. Okay, can you see my slide now?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Okay. Assalamualaikum and a very good morning. Okay. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Okay. Firstly, I would like to thank the organizer for providing us this platform to share the preliminary findings of our research. This LITEC grant is to develop a personalized teaching and learning module in pediatric dentistry, examination and diagnosis based on clinical years dental undergraduate students, learning needs at Faculty of Dentistry, University of Malaya. Okay. As for the introduction, okay, the method of teaching and learning in dentistry has shifted from traditional method to a more blended and innovative method. which has traditionally teaching in dentistry acquired through lectures, textbook, course manuals, preserved tooth, and in the end they will have to carry out clinical practice on the patients. Dental students will be introduced to the anatomical and morphological characteristic of the human teeth during their preclinical years, and followed by developing students' psychomotor skills through dental operative technique. Upon successful completion, this will prepare the students to practice on the real patient. The integral part of the dentistry program comprises clinical evaluation, making diagnosis, and formulating appropriate treatment plans for dental diseases or conditions. Therefore, dental students are required to observe numerous patients and practice their skills before they can be competent with these skills. However, over the years, these methods have shifted from traditional method to a more blended and innovative method, which has led to the change in dental teaching and learning to a more learner-centered approach. So in this research, the focus will be on developing multimodal personalized examination and diagnosis and learning in examination and diagnosis in pediatric dentistry. Okay. So what is personalized learning? As mentioned by many of the presenters yesterday, personalized learning is an educational approach that aims to customize learning for each student's strengths, needs, skills, and interests. Each student gets a learning plan that based on what they and how they learn best. So let's see some short video. Hello?
Yes. Is there supposed to be sound with that?
Yes. Is there any sound there? There's no sound.
No, you don't hear any sound.
Okay.
Hi, Dr. Lily.
Hi.
Okay, can you stop sharing?
But it's okay. It's just actually looking back what I have explained just now. Okay.
All right, okay.
Okay. So it explained about the blended and innovative teaching methods, replacing the drills of traditional education and teaching, and how dentistry has changed to a more learner approach teaching methods. Okay. Okay. So in the principles and pedagogy and management in the delivery of teaching, the general principles and pedagogy used to deliver teaching to students is through teaching methods. Okay, as reported by researchers, studies have shown a matching teaching methods will have a positive impact on students' performance. Therefore, a negative impact has been reported when it is unmatched. Therefore, in this study, the development of personalized learning module in pediatric dentistry is actually aimed to give positive impact to the dental students. Okay, before we go further on the research part, let me briefly explain about what is pediatric dentistry. It is actually a branch of dentistry that is concerned with preventive and oral health care for the children from birth to adolescence. The pediatric dentists provide full range of oral health care to ensure children, including children with special needs. The pediatric dentists focus on specialized management of children with oral and dental development problem, which can be caused from birth due to trauma or other medical or unknown reasons. And the pediatric dentists usually work closely with the medical counterpart as part of multidisciplinary team management for the children with complex problems. Okay, so therefore, the provision of dental care for children presented with great challenges. There are many factors need to be considered prior to decision making of the children dental treatment, because the pediatric dentist will have to manage not only the child but also the parents or the guardians of the children. Without thorough short and long-term treatment planning, the management will be unlikely to be successful. In the learning outcome of the examination diagnosis END module DIA 4006, all of these factors have to be taken into account. Traditionally, the teaching module consisted of lectures and seminars followed by clinical practices that should be carried out throughout semester 1 to semester 2.2. Following completion of this module, E&D continuous assessment will be carried out during the face-to-face clinical session within the specified semester. Then only then they can start with their own patient, with their own cases to fulfill their requirement. However, due to the pandemic COVID-19 and the Movement Control Order, Faculty of Dentistry suspended the undergraduate students' clinical session, which result majority of the students unable to complete the continuous assessment for this module. Subsequent to that, it also prevented the educator side to deliver lesson plan as scheduled, and as a result, the LO could not be achieved as planned. Therefore, redesigning and developing of the personalized teaching model prior to the implementation of the teaching to the clinical year 4 dental student was carried out slightly different from the initial research plan. Okay, so we did some modification. Okay, in order to achieve the LO of the module, all teaching and clinical practices were converted to online teaching. Even the assessment of the module need to be moved to the final year, year 5, which will be from semester 1 September 2020. The new norm really poses challenges for clinical teaching in dentistry. Therefore, technology-enhanced learning has been incorporated actively in these modules for the undergraduate dental student for a more sustainable dental teaching. Okay, this is okay. So this is the problem statements derived from the student needs analysis. The needs analysis will be presented later in the methods part. It revealed that the dental students favored the multimodal teaching and learning approach. Further to that, it was also reported by Kilakjani 2013 that we are still lacking of investigation concerning the matching of teaching and learning. From the problem statement, the research questions were derived. So these are the listed research questions. So we would like to know what are the issues faced by clinical year Faculty of Dentistry students in current clinical learning, and what is the suitable intervention module for the clinical years dental student in clinical learning, and how will the developed intervention model assist the clinical year dental students in clinical learning. Okay, this brought us to the objective of the study. So the main objective of the study is to determine the impact of personalized teaching modules on dental undergraduate students' learning motivation. And the specific objectives are, as listed, to identify the issue faced by the clinical dental students in learning, to develop an intervention model for clinical dental students for personalized learning, and to evaluate effectiveness of the developed intervention module. Okay. The music model of motivation inventory was used to measure pre and post students' motivation, and from the 5 key components of the inventory, it actually assists us on focusing to strengthen the weak components in designing and developing the personalized learning module. Okay, what is motivation tools, the music inventory? So this slide defines the music inventory construct. According to Dr. Jones 2018, this model can be used in any subject area to design instruction that motivates students, to diagnose motivational strength and weakness of instruction, and to research relationship among factors critical to student motivation. So the 5 key principles of the model are as follows, which is M for empowerment, U for usefulness, success, interest, and C for caring. So in designing the learning modules, the instructor needs to ensure that the students feel empowered, feel empowered by having the ability to make decisions about some aspect of their learning, and to ensure that they understand what they are learning is useful for their short or long-term goals, and to make them believe that they can succeed if they put effort in their learning, and to make the teaching interesting in the content, and to make them interested in the content and the instructional activities of the learning, and also to ensure that the student believe that the others in the learning environment, such as the educators and their peer students, care about their learning and about them as a person. So that's why this music model of motivation was chosen for this study. Okay, next. How do we carry out the study? Okay, so the study was carried out first by carrying out the need analysis so that we know in depth what are the problems in the dental students. Okay, and following that, the development of learning module based on the findings of the needs analysis. Okay, and the target population is the 49 clinical year 4 dental students which had undergone the conventional teaching methods and which should start the clinical pediatric dentistry face-to-face session if not for the pandemic COVID-19. And following that, the evaluation of the developed learning module through the music inventory, through pre and post short quizzes and feedback from students and how we can improve the teaching modules and the statistical analysis. Okay. As for the needs analysis, identifying the problems as mentioned previously in the problems statement slides. Okay, need analysis were carried out through 3 separate online interview and discussion among representatives from the clinical year students. Information on students' expectation, problem faced, suggestion for improvement were gathered. Among them, motivation in study, teaching and learning preferences, and students' view of own achievement. So all of these informations were gathered. Okay, so I will straight away present the needs analysis finding to make this slide presentation more understandable. Okay, from the findings, students expressed their thoughts and opinion. From what have been carried out in Faculty of Dentistry all this while, the students did mention that a mixture of both student-centered learning and teacher-centered learning already happening in the faculty. However, they did mention that more interactive teaching is preferred, no matter it is online or offline, because one-way communication is so boring. Okay, and the dental students do learn from experience, and most of them preferred smaller group. Okay, but there are still some students who like the conventional way, as they said it actually motivated them and forced them to attend classes. Okay, as for the e-learning, positive feedback was obtained. They said that it can be seen repeatedly as presented by our presenter yesterday as well. Okay, and some of them did mention that some lectures are not student friendly and scared to ask, but we still need guidance from the lecturer. Okay, in the part of motivation in study, it was obvious that the students are motivated. Okay, the motivation increases gradually as they matured throughout the clinical years. The reason being, application of knowledge process occur from theoretical basis to application in clinical practices. Okay, most of the students claim to be either personally highly motivated or motivated by their family members or peers. Okay, because they have to work in team when they are in clinical practice. Okay. Some of them keep themselves motivated to avoid failure of being a dentist. Okay. However, being the most junior in the clinical year, the year 3 students expressed their frustration when the clinical supervisors treated them as equally as compared to their seniors. Okay. Because when they are in the clinic, they mentioned that the supervisors ask the same question, the same level of question that will be asked to the final year students. So they express their frustration on that. Okay. So based on this finding of the needs analysis, the development of the multimodal personalized learning was carried out. Okay. So what we found out from the need analysis, the expectation to the student must be made clear. So the establishment of the detailed model structure must follow the learning outcome. As for the intervention strategies, the element of critical thinking, more interactive and engagement through teaching and activities via technologies or conventional approach need to be incorporated, as the student highlighted frequently the importance of teachers' guidance and support in nurturing an interactive teaching and learning environment, and for the lecturer to be more flexible in providing quality feedback to the students. Okay, so this is how the development of multimodal personalized learning model was taken place. Okay. The initial proposed learning module teaching plan activities, okay, prior to the MCO included multimodal teaching methods. This is to increase student interest in the subjects and to be more interactive manner. Because it is hypothesized that given the advantages gained through multiple learning strategies in the proposed learning module, will be able to boost students' ability to learn more quickly and in depth. Okay. However, due to the pandemic COVID-19, modification need to be made. So it has been made. All teaching must be carried out online, and the teaching commences from 4th of June to 23rd of July, which is a very short period indeed. So online Ent Seminar, simulation, case-based learning, which include all the history taking, intraoral description, investigation, interpretation, treatment plan, which need to be carried out face-to-face initially, has to be converted online. This is to improve their END assessment, even though they are not seeing the real patients. The objective is for the student to be able... 5 minutes. Okay, this objective is for the students to be able to perform the assessment and behavior management technique appropriately. The case level difficulty increase in each online clinical session so that they are prepared when they move to the final year. Okay, so a lot of modification has been done. Okay, as for the results and discussion, I will present result and discussion together. Okay, so from the score of the music model components, okay, the pre and post test in the dental undergraduate students, we can see that empowerment, success, and interest component scored lower in the pre-test. So we tried to develop the learning module based on that key components, and following the exposure of the developed model of the SID component has shown statistically significant differences. So from the statistical analysis, we can see that even with minimum approach of personalized learning, because we have to do the modification, and as the first speaker of this LITEC conference mentioned before, we have to start small, okay? So even with minimum approach of personalized learning, did boost students' level of motivation, okay? So it showed that the personalized learning module able to focus on the components that are problematic, aligned with the findings from the student needs analysis, okay? So these are the feedbacks of the students and lecturers' feedback on students' END simulation. So we have to carry out everything online. So they have to carry out the examination and diagnosis simulation, okay? So positive feedbacks from the students are more compared to negative feedbacks from the lecturers, okay? It seemed that lecturer said that the explanation is too lengthy, did not acknowledge the complaint, and even the wrong teeth is identified. But the students are quite happy with the good scenario, clear and well understood, maybe because they can see and repeatedly, and less nervous because it's in their own setting, okay? However, definitely further improvement need to be done. Okay. As for student suggestion for improvement, okay, here the positive and negative feedbacks are as listed. So among them are on internet connectivity, okay, and speed and the length of time given to them to complete the task, as this is their first time and they has never been exposed to this kind of simulation approach before. So I think it takes time for them to settle down a bit. Okay. So conclusion, I already come to the conclusion, okay. So personalization approach in the delivery of teaching and learning is actually able to create a more flexible learning environment which complements student needs and requirements the most, okay. And As for educator side, we can empower and move the students through providing a supportive, quality learning environment where learning is achievable and supported by both teachers and students. And through the result of need analysis, by having the knowledge of student needs, actually could facilitate the teachers to employ the most suitable or more suitable teaching strategies to the student in order to boost up their motivation and for a more effective teaching and learning process. There are the references for this presentation. Okay. With that, I would like to thank ADAC for the grant. The research team members of Pediatric Dentistry and Special Care Discipline, Faculty of Dentistry, University Malaya, the LITEC research team, and the students of Faculty of Dentistry, University Malaya for the cooperation in this project. Okay.
Okay, thank you very much,
Dr.
Shirley, for your presentation. Please stand by within the page. If there are any questions pertaining to your work. So I now open the session to the panel members and also to the audience if you have any questions. Okay, so if seems that there's no question, that means that the presentation was really clear and really concise. So let's move on to the next presenter, C23, Dr. Surveyor Umi Kalsum Zulkifly, for her topic, which is Personalized Learning Model in Achieving the Integrated Project 3 Learning Outcome for Quantity Surveying Program. So over to you, Dr. Umi.
Thank you, Dr. Zahir. Can you guys see my slide?
Yes, we can see.
Okay, thank you so much. Okay, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh and salam sejahtera to all. I'm going to present on the personalized learning in achieving the integrated project 3 learning outcome for the quantity surveying program. Okay, my team, my research team is consists of Professor Madya Dr. Nohanim Zakaria and Encik Imran Arif Yahya. So basically, the content of my presentation consists of the introduction, whereby it is more towards on the literature review on the personalized learning and the integrated project 3 learning outcomes. And on top of that, I also put the relation between the personalized learning and the integrated project 3. Second will be on the problem statement, research question, aims and objective, research methodology, analysis and findings, contribution and the conclusion. So for the personalized learning, the working definitions is taken from the Oxford Dictionary, whereby the personalized is planned or created to fulfill the particular requirements of another, and where learning is defined by the Center for Teaching and Learning, Berkeley University of California, which notes that learning is an engaging practice that draws on prior experience that happens in a fluid social setting and is placed in an appropriate context because it involves the inspiration and cognitive engagement of the learner. So therefore, the personalized learning is an approach taken by the educator Personalized learning is an approach taken by the educator to their students to ensure that the content of a topic or course is brilliantly understood by the student in a definitive manner. According to Amanda Morin, every student's strength, needs, skill and interests were indeed different. So personalized learning can be used as an approach to optimize the learning method to fit the latter. For the integrated project subject, the integrated project 3 is introduced to quantity surveying program due to the department's initiative in producing graduates who have a new and better kind of learning that will equip them to deal with the challenges and the opportunities of this complex world. The demand for a work-ready graduates who are familiar with the organizational practices in the workplace is increasing, and so the need for greater work-integrated learning is a growing concern for the quantity surveying program. The work-integrated learning include cooperative education, collaborative educations, learning in the workplace and the community, field education, service learning and more. Therefore, at the end of the course, students are able to identify the importance of integrating knowledge relating to the quantity surveying field and to determine concept, principle, techniques and appropriate knowledge and apply the knowledge and skill for the problem-solving methods. Okay. So in general, based on the literature review, there are several issues being highlighted by the researcher, whereby one of the issue is the students most often question the consistency of their curriculum. And the other issue is the students more often question the way teachers teach and the level of performance expected of the student. And the third issue is the student felt their course was not interesting enough and was tasked with taking notes mundanely for continuous examination purpose. Therefore, it can be concluded that the main problem for the teaching and learning, the students struggle to see the value or significance of what they are learning. In relation to the integrated project 3 for the quantities surveying program, there are several issues highlighted. The first one is about the modern quantity surveying profession regularly needs to deal with uncertainty, incomplete data and competing customer demands, governments, environmental groups and the public at large. It demands social inclusion skills as well as technical skill, while trying to do so incorporating more human skill into their knowledge base and professional practice. To this, quantity surveyor also have to cope with continuous workplace technological and organizational change. They must also figure out how to deal with the commercial realities of industrial practice in the modern world, as well as with the legal repercussion of every professional decision they make. Due to the above challenges, personalized learning has been foreseen as one of the solutions to overcome the problem faced by the students, faculty and the public in relation with the learning process. The aim of this research is to apply personalized learning in achieving the integrated project 3 learning outcome for quantity surveying program. And the research question is, what is the adaptation level of personalized learning in achieving the integrated project 3 learning outcome? The second one is, what is the challenges in adapting personalized learning in achieving the integrated project 3 learning outcome? And the last one is, how to overcome the challenges in adapting personalized learning in achieving the integrated project 3 learning outcome for the quantity surveying program. The research objective, the first one is to explore the adaptation level of personalized learning in achieving the integrated project 3 learning outcome for the quantity surveying program. Second, to identify challenges in adapting personalized learning to identify challenges in adapting personalized learning in achieving the integrated project 3 learning outcome for quantity surveying program. And third one, to establish solution in overcoming the challenges in adapting personalized learning in the integrated project 3 learning outcome. So process involved in adopting personalized learning in integrated project 3 involved with the 5 stages. The first stage consists of the selection of the themes and the selection of the international case study. The second stage involved with the task development, student categorization, and the third stage involved with the implementation and coordination. The fourth stage involved with the monitoring and controlling, and the last stage involved with the evaluation, assessment and assessment process. So for the stage 1, okay, we inject the personalized learning from the initial stage of the project, whereby the students are required to come up with a proposal consists of the selection of the themes and the selection of the international case study. For the selection of the themes, okay, the proposal given by the student consists of 2 topics. The first one is on the natural disaster technology, and the second one is on the sustainable building technology. Whereas for the selection of the international case study, proposal given by the student consists of 3: Taiwan, Japan, and Korea. Those proposals were evaluated by the course coordinator, and once after evaluating about the themes and the case study, it was forwarded to the department's consent and approval. For the stage 2, it is more towards on the course coordinator task, whereby the course coordinator is required to develop the task for the integrated project tree, and also they have to categorize the students. Okay, and for the task development, it consists of the integrations of the knowledge, whereby as a course coordinator, they have to make sure that the task that being developed consists of several knowledge, especially on the construction technology, the construction economics, the construction law, measurement works, and etc. Whereas for the integrating of the practices, the course coordinator have to ensure that the task given should consist of the several practices. For example, the quantity surveyor itself, developer, contractors, architects, engineer, and land surveyor. Why we impose on the integrating of the practices is because of talking about the quantity surveying fields. Okay, our services is being supported by these parties, so it is very important for the quantity surveyor to understand the scopes and the scope of others consultant in order for them to come up with their products. And the second thing is about the student categorization. Okay, the categorization of students, students are divided based on their CGPA and based on the level of knowledge. Preliminary tests were given to the students to identify the level of the knowledge, and based on that result, okay, student be divided. So we have to make sure that every group have a good student, and on certain and every group has a student who has a certain level of knowledge. So there will be a combinations of the weak and the strong students. And on top of that, supervisor were assigned to each group to monitor, to administer, to advise, to give consultation to this group. And this thing, the task development and student categorization also being presented to the departments to get their consent and approval. And on the third stage, it is mainly on the course coordinator and the supervisor actually, and it is more towards on the implementation and the coordination, whereby it starts from the briefing of the integrated project task, and all groups are required to propose the type of hazard that they would like to study, and the site selection in Malaysia that is prone to the hazard. Okay, and based on that discussion in the first week and second week, okay, the student come up with the things that they would like to study. For example, for group 1, they would like to study on the flood, group 2 would like to study on the sinkholes, group 3 would like to study on the tsunami, group 4 would like to study on the cyclonic storm, and group 5 would like to study on the landslide, and the last group would like to study on the earthquake. And the student also managed to propose the critical zone prone to the hazard. For example, like group 1, their site selection is in Puchong, Selangor. Group 2, Kampar, Perak. Group 3, Kota Kinabalu, Sabah. Group 4, Kudat, Sabah. Group 5, Kuala Lumpur. And group 6 is Bukit Tinggi, Bukit Tinggi, Pahang. And stage 4. This is also need cooperation from the course coordinator and the supervisor, whereby it is more towards on the monitoring and controlling the knowledge that the students will gather, and we have to make sure the quality of the knowledge that the student gathered. Okay, for the monitoring and controlling process, weekly discussion with the supervisor were done, and weekly presentation on the work progress to the course coordinator. And on top of that, besides having a supervision things, we also bringing the industry to the classroom. This idea is to avoid that. This idea was introduced to avoid the boring environment, or could be we try to inject something new. So we try to engage expert practices to explain on the current scenario on the subject matter. Okay, for this for the expert, we invite the meteorology department, Dr. Hisham, and to explain about the conditions of weather in Malaysia. And second, we invite Upum Sedang Berhad, Dr. Meldi Suhatri, to explain on the types of the natural disaster in Malaysia. And the last one, we invite from the Kementerian Kerja Raya Malaysia, Datuk Maswan Ahmad, to explain on the feasibility study on how to perform the cost estimate on the building and the infrastructure project. And besides bringing the industry to the classroom, we also bring in the classroom to the international level. In this case, we bring the students to Taiwan. Okay, and for your information, the proposal of the international case study was given by the student, and at department's level, we agreed to bring these students to Taiwan. And while we were in Taiwan, visit were done to the National Taiwan University, whereby one of the professor explaining about the condition in Taiwan in related to the natural disaster, especially on the storm, typhoon, earthquake, and tsunami. And Curry and Brown consultant, it is more towards on the quantitative practices in managing the natural disaster project. And we also brought the student to the National Center for the Earthquake Engineering, T.Y. Engineering Consultant. And for your information, this contact was established by the students. And the stage 5, evaluation and assessment process. The evaluation and assessment process consists of four. The first one is the poster, slide presentation, report, and peer assessment. Poster assessment were done by the supervisors and course coordinator. Slide presentation were assessed by the external evaluator and the QS lecturers. Report assessment done by the supervisor and course coordinator, whereas for the peer assessment done by the group member. Okay, so this is the task given to the students for the integrated project 3. We give the task related to the natural disaster because this is what they propose, and we try to set the task so that it will match with the learning outcome of the integrated project 3. So the task that they required to do is to identify the critical areas or zones that prone to hazard in Malaysia. They are also required to identify the prevention, mitigation, preparedness, response, and recovery method for the identified hazard. And they also required to propose the disaster-resistant building technology and to propose the disaster-resistant infrastructure works related to the proposed building. And the last one for the first task is to prepare the 3D model for the proposal. Second task involves the preparation of the preliminary estimate in the form of preliminary detail abstract.
You have 5 minutes.
So, okay, thank you. To prepare the approximate detail, the request for the best procurement to be adopted for this development, and to develop construction planning and schedule based on 4D BIM. And the last one is to prepare schedule of payment through 5D BIM. So this is the example of the project that been done by the student. Okay, after applying the personalized learning to the integrated project, we would like to ask about the student opinion about the learning, the teaching and learning method that being introduced. So therefore, a quantitative method using the questionnaire were given to the. Sorry.
We have 1 minute left.
Okay, thank you. Well, given to the students, okay? So to explore the adaptation level, okay, basically most students agree that this learning method giving a better benefit to them, whereby they increase the knowledge and their skills, okay? And to identify the challenges in adopting personalized learning in achieving the integrated project, the main problem is the financials and the time allocated for the project. And based on the every challenges, okay, we found out that for the financial, we find for the every challenges, okay, there will be a solution whereby for example like financial, okay, the solution is on the parent and community support, and this is followed by the available resources. Whereas for the time allocated for the project, the most important factor is the team planning time and the flexibility in scheduling. So this is the result of the solution in overcoming the challenges in adapting personalized learning in achieving the integrated project tree. So therefore, this research actually contribute and give impact to the teaching and learning. First, a combination of several methods of teaching and learning is introduced to increase student knowledge and abilities in integrated project tree, increase the opportunity in collaboration with the industry locally and internationally, enhancing personalized learning for quantity-based program. And impact for the students, okay, the students are able to increase their confidence level through the process of selecting the topic and setting the question for the proposed project. They are exposed to collaborative learning during the process of discussion with their group member and when dealing with the practitioner and academician locally and internationally. And students are exposed to the external classroom concept where practitioner will deliver a lecture on related topic based on project selected. Site visit is also being conducted to increase their understanding and knowledge on the given project. This will enhance their soft skills, okay, and students are able to learn at their own pace because project will be given and they need to find the information and solution at their own time and creativity. Whereas in terms of the teaching and learning innovations, we introduce the hybrid learning concept, adopting the word integrated learning, the external classroom, and problem-based learning. So the conclusion is the subject of integrated project will need to follow these following criteria in order to achieve the desired learning outcome for the students. The design integrated project subject will need to begin with identified problem or situation that directs the area or context of study for the students. Second, for the student to progress through the project as well as for his own learning, student-initiated research is relied upon. The design integrated project subject will require high levels of student initiative, motivation, and organizational skills need to be developed by the students. With that, I would like to say thank you.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Umi. That was really impressive. Again, I open the floor to the other presenters and to the reviewer who, if you have any questions to Dr. Umi. If there's no question, I would like to ask a question to Dr. Umi. Your project is really interesting, but then when we come to the issue of the new norm, how do you plan or how do you envisage the integrated project to be carried out in the future?
Okay, instead of going to the site visit to physically, I think we have to do it via online. So maybe we have to communicate with the, for example, like talking about the new norm right now, okay, whereby we are not allowed to go to overseas, okay. So maybe we have to establish the relationship with the outsiders, the certain university in in overseas, certain university in other countries, okay, and try to try to agree on the certain learning outcome that can be done with our students. For example, recently we have come up with a proposal whereby, okay, we are going to bring the students to the UK. However, because of this new situation is we are not allowed to bring the students to overseas. Therefore, we have communicated with UK, one of the university in UK. Okay, we agreed on certain online method whereby it involved the case studies and it involved with the lecture and assignments. So maybe that is one of the way to overcome the new norms that we have to face.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Zahir.
I'm happy to report that Dr. Azhar is already finally here with us. So I'm going to hand over the session to Dr. Azhar to introduce our next speaker.
Thank you, Dr. Zahir. It's nice to be here. Without further ado, I'll invite our next speaker, Dr. Yeoh Yin Yin. Are you there?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Okay, yes, we
Okay.
can hear you very clearly.
Okay,
So
thank you.
C24, case study of implementing quality talk and project-based learning in undergraduate class to achieve personalized learning. Dr. Yeoh Yin Yin, please welcome.
Okay, thank you. Let me share my slide first.
Cantik slide.
Okay, can you all see my slide?
Yes.
All right, so I click the present here. Okay, good morning and
Morning to the panels. First of all, I would like to apologize from our team for can't make it to the scheduled time and also date. I will be representing our team for the research entitled Incorporating Personalized Learning in Delivering a Studio-Based Subject for Building Surveying Program, particularly project management subject. This study seeks to investigate group work among building surveying students for project management studio project-based subject at Faculty of Built Environment, University of Malaya. This is in order to identify the appropriate instruction and assignment approach to achieve effective learning outcome on all areas of a case study project among all students. For your information, building surveying program is more on studio-based program, whereby there are at least one studio subject for each year, each semester of the students' learning semester. Okay, all researchers involved in this study are the lecturer for BIB 3001 Project Management, semester 1, session 2019-2020. This is the outline for today's presentation. I will firstly start with introduction, followed by problem statements, and then aim and objective, literature review, methodology, preliminary result and analysis, and finally the conclusion. With increasing desire and attempts to attain global recognition, higher education institutions are becoming more diverse, meaning new teaching methods must be developed and utilized to suit diverse students as well as different learning outcomes. Increasing focus on cooperative and collaborative learning environment and approaches continue to demonstrate the need for interaction and teamwork, something that is particularly and practically necessary in the construction field where large and diverse number of professionals must work together to execute a project. As such, the need for group case study project become an important part of instruction and learning among students. Group learning has been credited with fostering and development of critical thinking, organization, negotiation, delegations, teamwork, cooperation, conflict resolution, time management, leadership, problem-solving skill, and encouraging social interaction. However, several challenges have been identified in working in group. As we can see in the diagram, there are a few challenges which have been identified, which are work ethic, attendance, communications, time-consuming, logistically problematic, cultural differences, grading, and also leadership. Group work has also been considered to be more time-consuming, logistically problematic, and present difficulties in assessing the relative level of individual contribution. As you can see, Labio et al. Highlighted on the difficulties to present the assessment levels of individual contribution in groups. As the instructor in the studio, we always receive complaints from the students that the contribution and involvement of their group member are different, which means that some of the group members do not contribute, but at the end, they get the grade same as their group members, okay? Which is some of the group members feel that it is unfair for them. So there are a few factors that contribute and determine the successful group work in creating useful learning experience. As the instructor in the studio, we always receive complaints from the students that the contribution and involvement of their group member are different, which means that some of the group members do not contribute, but at the end, they get the. There are a few challenges which have been identified, which are work ethic, attendance, communications, time-consuming, logistically problematic, cultural differences, grading, and also leadership. Group work has also been considered to be more time-consuming, logistically problematic, and present difficulties in assessing the relative level of individual contribution. As you can see, Labio et al. Highlighted on the difficulties to present the assessment levels of individual contribution in groups. As the instructor in the studio, we always receive complaints from the students that the contribution and involvement of their group member are different, which means that some of the group members do not contribute, but at the end, they get the grade same as their group members, okay? Which is some of the group members feel that it is unfair for them. So there are a few factors that contribute and determine the successful group work in creating useful learning experience for students. The first one is quality of guidance and instruction. The second one is method of group assessment. The third one is system to form a group. These issues related to group success are particularly from the instructor perspective. There has been considerable research on group learning from the perspective of students and also group members. However, many of these studies focus primarily on the role of the students, and very little is understood about the instructor role, particularly in group involving studio project-based subjects in the construction environment sphere. The fragmental nature of the construction process presents unique challenges to group knowledge acquisition and transfer among students. Based on all these problem statements, our team has formulated 3 objectives. The first one is to identify specific students' interests, needs, or skill level to create an individual pathway based on students' unique profile. And then the second one, to apply personalized learning elements into teaching and learning process for project management course. And finally, to develop students' personalized portfolio for a studio project-based project subject. The project management course of building surveying program is a combine of lecture, studio-based, and also project-based subject. This course emphasizes the major theories and application of project management in building refurbishment project, meaning that the student have to identify a case study for the refurbishment purposes. It was found that the student assigned the task in assignment according to their strength previously, whereby students who are put in calculation, they were tend to take the task related to calculation. Okay. In fact, there are many educational theories regarding individual differences among learners. Personalized learning has been introduced in order to address this issue. While for the literature review part, the International Association for K-12 Online Learning defines personalized learning as tailoring learning for each student's strength, needs, and interests, including enabling students' voice and choice in what, how, when, and where they learn to provide flexibility and support to ensure mastery of the highest standards possible. Teaching and learning strategies for personalized learning include flexible use of space and time, social reforming the classroom as community space, reflective interaction between teachers, students, and student with student. The benefits of group work are well recognized throughout the educational research. Let me proceed with the methodologies. Based on the objective formulated, there is a set of 5 methodologies or approach that will be adopted. The first one is to develop the project guideline. The project guideline is very essential prior to the commencement of the study, because the project guidelines will aims to convey the high expectation as the key elements of personalized learning approach through this method. For the project brief, as you can see, the students are divided into groups of 5 and 6, and they need to identify a site which has a minimum size of 3,000 square meter, either an occupied building or space or rundown places, and it is a commercial use or potential to be converted for commercial use. And the specific tasks in the assignment include site analysis studies in macro and micro, which means that the student needs to investigate the site in terms of location, economic activities, and also environmental aspect, engineering aspect, and also legislative aspect. And then once the student already did this site analysis, they need to do some market research, which means they have to know the supply and demand of the site and compiling information of the population, statistic of occupation, existing building, residents in the vicinity of the location. And then the student have to conduct a building condition assessment in order to produce a condition survey report for the chosen site. And then they have to distinguish the viability of the project, which means the cost involved in the project and whether the project can make a good profit for them. And then lastly, they have to propose the method statement, estimate construction time using the arrow diagram and also Gantt chart. And all the for the proposed project, the students need to produce all the stated plan, right? And then the students have to submit the full proposal. For this subject, the distribution of the marks include individual portfolio, which we new incorporate this one into the subject, particularly in order to improve the subject. And then we have the proposal, presentation, and also the final report. Okay, and then the second approach will be project grouping. A different approach is adopted for the purpose of this study, whereby assignment of grouping is not merely based on academic qualification, but also considering the unique profile of the student. For this particular personalized learning purposes, we have adopted a Myers-Briggs theory of 16 personality types, which means students have to conduct a personality test, and they have to submit the result of the personality test to us. From this theory, there are possible of 16 different combinations of personality types, representing which of the two poles in each of the four dichromatic dominates in a person, right? So students will be divided into groups based on the result of the personality test, and at the same time, we will also refer to the academic result of the students based on last semester, which means that each group, they have a balanced group members with different personality types and also excel and weak in academic result. Okay, and now the third one approach is co-team system. This is also the new methodology or techniques is introduced to encourage full cooperation and participation of students in the whole learning process, which means that in the group of 6, the students have to divide among themselves for a team of 3 and 3. They will need to assign the task for each team, and then after they have completed the task, they need to switch their role in order that they have involved and participate in each stage of the project. And then the fourth one is engagement, which means we will engage the industry to this project. We have already invited Ent Properties and John Berhard to come and give a lecture, and also they brought our students to a site visit of refurbishment project and explain to the student how the project in real world setting. And finally, the personalized, this is the example of the speaker from Ent Property, St. John Berhard, which giving a sharing session with our project management students. Okay, and finally the personalized student portfolio. Okay, this is also a new approach that has been introduced to the subject, which means that it requires the close participation and relationship between lecturers or instructor and students. Lecturer or instructors will assist in guiding students to develop their personalized student portfolio based on the involvement throughout the process. At first, the students are given a task to create an individual portfolio. The objective is to set an individual learning pathway for students to match on their personality and also competency skill. Students are also guided to establish their project management skill set through the formation of individual student portfolio. As you can see, the content of the student portfolio includes personal goals, personality tests, skill level and interests, student project management elements, right? Which means that for personal goals, the students need to outline their own personal goals on week 1 and reflect back on this at the end of the semester. And then, as I mentioned just now, the student need to conduct personality tests, and the student require to summarize the result in the portfolio. And then for level, skills and interests, students are requested to rate their skill at the beginning and at the end of the semester. And finally, the project management elements means that the students have to showcase their competency by summarizing their skill level on the following elements, which means principle of project management, planning control, decision making, quality assurance and risk management, ethics, and other competency that the student think it is relevant. I have the example of the student portfolio which obtained the highest marks. Okay, as you can see, this is the example of student portfolio. The first one is they have to set their personal goals, right? And then their personality test result and their skill level and interest at the beginning and at the end of semester. As you can see, the skill level and interest will be increased after the subject. And also the principle of project management. So the students will present what they have learned throughout the subjects and also throughout the studies. And the lowest mark will be this one, right? As you can see, it is much different. The highest marks is more creative in producing the portfolio. Okay, this is the flow of the methodology. As I explained just now, we start with develop the project guideline, then project grouping, co-team system, engagement, and also personalized student portfolio. So the assessment we have conducted is pre and post project assessment by students, which is interview and also questionnaire survey. And also questionnaire survey reflection of project guidelines implementation. We have already conducted a questionnaire survey at the end of the semester using Google Form, which means that students have to fill in the Google Forms and reflect on the learning outcome of the subject. And then for project grouping, we already conducted the personality test, and we incorporate the academic result in doing the grouping of the students. Okay, and then co-team system, we have peer assessment, which means that students have to evaluate their peers at the end of the semester, and this will be incorporate. This will also affect the marks, the final marks of the project. And then capitalize on both technology and non-technology based platform as medium for construction communication, which means that students are mostly using the technology part. We will be using the Spectrum platform for conducting the survey, personality test, and all the modes of assessment. And also we have the while for the engagement with the industry, we have a feedback survey after the engagement activities. And then finally the portfolio grading, which will contribute 10% of the total marks of the subject. For the preliminary result and analysis, a questionnaire survey has been conducted among the students. For your information, the class has a total of 34 students, and 67.6 are females and 32.4 are males. Okay, and when the students are asked, they think that working in pairs help to build up their skills and knowledge better compared to working in group. Majority of the students thinks that working in pair help to build up their skills and also knowledge better than working in groups compared to those assignment, they work in groups, whereby they can share their knowledge and also skill with their other group members. Okay. And a thematic analysis has been done under this section and has found that two main factors that is working in pairs, which means that these two main factors contribute to working in pairs, which are effectiveness in communication and improve the quality of outcomes, which means that the pairs in that small group is a combination of more weak students and also better students. They can share among them what is their opinion and share their knowledge and what their skill in order to complete the particular task. Okay, and the student will ask to rate the efficiency level in increasing their understanding, knowledge, and skill in working in pairs. And majority of them, which are 70.6 students, think strongly agree. 70.6 agree that it is more effective to working in pairs, and 8.6 of the students think that strongly agree that working in pairs is very effective in increasing their understanding, knowledge, and also skill. So in conclusion, the preliminary result proposed that students found that working in pairs facilitates their resourcefulness and independence in learning, and also students also responded that they believe working in pairs can improve the communication skill and improve the quality of outcomes. And finally, based on the result, this study will be proceeded to conduct the adaptations of co-team system in project-based learning. Okay, so as you can see, this is the, we have invited Mr. Lee from Ent Property Development in Berhad, and also one of our ex-students of BS, and also she already graduated in Faculty of Built Environment for Master. And finally, Mr. Garanton, and the chairman of Emerald Avenue Joint Management Body. All these parties are having responsibilities in different phases of construction, whereby Mr. Lee is on construction and Mr. Garan is on management. And Mr. Chiu, Ms. Chiu is more involved in costing. So all these panels were invited during the presentation of the final presentation of the student to become the panel and give the sharing session throughout these studies. That's all from our team. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Shirley. It looks like Fakulti Alam Bina is having a lot of good projects on teaching and learning going on. So we're really excited about this and wish you guys all the best. We will get back. Okay, now we will get back to Dr. Yeoh Yin Yin. Dr. Yeoh, are you there now?
Yeah.
Okay, let's try this. Let's try this again. Okay, I'll reintroduce you. This project's C24 case study of implementing quality talk and project-based learning in undergraduate class to achieve personalized learning. Dr. Yeoh, your floor is yours.
Thank you. Okay, just to check, can you see my slide now?
Yes.
Okay, then I start my presentation. Good morning, everyone, and sorry for the technical issue just now. First of all, I would like to thank to ADEC and also the LITEC grant for giving me the grant and the opportunity to run the project and present the result of my research today. So the topic of my presentation today is a case study of implementing quality talk and project-based learning in undergraduate class to achieve personalized learning. So first, let me do a brief introduction on the undergraduate course that I have chosen, that is the Chinese in Classical Texts. This is now an elective course, but soon in next year, in the new cohort of the curriculum, it will be a compulsory course to all year 1 undergraduate students. So we can say that this is actually a basic course for Chinese studies students because it helps them to learn how to read and comprehend the text in ancient time. But what are the challenges that students facing normally in this course? First, the range of the classical text is so huge, so it requires a large amount of knowledge. But how are they going to have a selective reading on it? And the second thing is, in such a large time horizon, the ancient and the modern languages have been very much different. So students will find it very difficult to understand. And
Dr. Yeoh, may I interrupt you for a while?
yeah.
Would you like to click on the display slide, the icon, so that you can share the PowerPoint mode?
I already shared, I thought.
Yeah, but it's not displayed as a slide presentation.
Okay, I try again. Now I press it. Is it okay?
Hi, Dr. Yeoh.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm Umu here. Can you stop sharing first?
Okay.
Can you share your desktop instead?
All right. Sorry, can I share my desktop now?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, please.
Okay. How about this?
Okay, can you put on PowerPoint's presentation mode? Sorry.
Okay, like this.
Yes, thank you.
Okay, excellent. Okay.
Okay,
We
then
will not interrupt you anymore. Please
sorry,
proceed.
let
No
me
worries.
continue. Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay,
you can
so
do.
just now we have already talked about the contents of this course, and the third challenges that the students were facing, that is they don't really notice what is the relationship between the text, the tools they learn to their life or to their experience. But in fact, we know that through the learning process, a person they should learn a new knowledge, they should develop a new skills or form a new attitude. Then only they are able to learn independently in the future and also to achieve lifelong learning. So now let's move to our real teaching and learning context. That means in the class. So we will encounter another problems. All students are different, so they might differ in terms of the level of knowledge, their personalities. I mean, they are unique. So how should we, as a teacher, or say, how are we going to design and run our class then? So with that in mind, I have decided to try out this combination of quality talk and project-based learning in my class, with the aim to discuss whether this implementation of both approach will bring a positive effect towards the personalized learning. So what is quality talk that I already mentioned a few times just now? So it is actually an approach to conducting discussions to promote students' high-level comprehension of text, where these high-level comprehensions refer to the critical reflective thinking about or around the text. So this quality talk, we can also say, is a QT, is a collaborative project between the Ohio State University and also the Penn State University. So the quality talk, it actually comprises of these 4 elements, these 4 components. And we can see here an ideal instructional frame for discussion, the discourse tools, the the teacher modeling and scaffolding, and also the pedagogical principles. So what each one means, first one, the instructional frame actually refers to the teachers. They can decide the topic or the text while the student, they are given the dominance to do the discussion. And the discourse tools is about the discussion elements that can, we say, induce or promote the discussion among students. So teacher modeling and scaffolding means teacher can guide students to run the discussion that focusing on the text. And the last one is actually comprised of the understanding about language and pedagogy that we consider essential to fostering a culture or a dialogic inquiry in the classroom. So if I just sum it up, in the quality talk is stress on the interaction and the talk. But many of the time in our, we say, flipped classroom, students, they don't know how to discuss based on the text itself. So this is also why the approach of the flipped classroom is often questioned by investing too much time to interact, and some even question if it really helps the students to absorb content effectively and improve the learning outcomes, or just for them to have a happy time. So the failure of the flipped classroom was not because of the talk, but it actually depends on whether it is a quality talk or not. So what we can do to achieve the quality talk in the teacher's role, we are actually participating in this discussion. We encourage the students to speak, we guide them to discuss and hand over the dominance to them. While for the students' role side, they will discuss, they are doing the discussion. They will take turns to speak, to share their thoughts or opinions to the group members. So the thoughts they are sharing are logical, are critiques on the question and not towards the individual. If they are disagree, let's say, they can ask, oh, why do you think so? Or how do you know? So that they can provide more evidence. So since every student is unique, each student, they will bring a unique perspective and contribution to the discussion, including their prior knowledge and personal experience. So after integrating all these perspectives, their experience, we'll find that each time the discussion is unique as well and will not be completely the same as other discussion in the same topic. Okay, so next one is we just have a brief about the project-based learning, because yesterday and the first day we saw that some other presenters already talked about this project-based learning. So I just want to say that the project-based learning actually enables students to gain the knowledge and skills by working for an extended period of time. They need to invest and respond to complex questions, the problems or challenges. And students have their own autonomy over the project, including what to do and how to do. So normally, most of our course in university, we will give them assignments. But if the assignments was given at the very early stage of the semester, the first week, let's say, then we ask students to submit it at the end of the semester or the last week of the course. It's actually more like a summative assessment rather than a formative assessment. So in project-based learning, I would say we should rethink, does our student, given the learning process, do they know how far they can still move forward to improve? And I think this is quite important. So we can see that both quality talks and project-based learning are actually might help in the personalized learning. So this comes to my research objective, that is to explore the suitability of implementation of the quality talk and project-based learning into an undergraduate course, and also to identify the impact of quality talk and PBL towards the personalized learning. So I would like to present the results of research first before we proceed to the course design. So first of all, is about the students' motive and the reason why they choose this elective course. So the result shows that about 75% of them, they wish to increase their ability to read the classical Chinese text, while the 56.3% of them believe that this is an important basic course. And indeed, yeah, it is. 37.5% of them interest in this course, while the other 12.5% they choose this course because they have no other choices anymore. So then we look at their self-evaluation about their mastering or their level of Chinese in classical text. Half of them said they are intermediate level, while 31 and 18.8% of them think that they are weak and very weak, respectively. Yeah, the very weak and weak. So if we compare to their self-evaluation again at the final week of the course, in the question when we asking after taking this course, I feel that blah blah blah. So the 29.2% of them said that they have improved a lot, while the other 70.8% said that they have improved. So the choices like I've no improve at all, or I don't understand that, or they didn't choose it. So here we also can summarize up some comments of the students regarding on the approach of the group discussion where we actually run the quality talk. The result shows that half of the students, they prefer to read articles by themselves. Nevertheless, most of them also feel that this discussion helped them to think and understand the article better, which reached about 80, above 80. And 31.3 of them said they are more comfortable to ask questions in a group compared to the whole class. So we can also take a look at their opinion about the project-wise, the quiz and the video making. We have in total 8 times of quiz. All of them think that this part, I mean the quiz, is a very necessary part that cannot be taken out if this course be open again. And for the video, compare with the group project, that is the video making, 81 point, the result is slightly different. 81.2 take it as an interesting project, while the 18.8% feel that it's just normal. So what we can conclude here is this batch of students, they have different style of learning. Their learning style is different. So some of them might prefer group activities, some prefer individual learning. And we would also like to know which part in this course is the student like the most. So their answer is the discussion, the group discussion. So we asked why. The comments they gave is I like this kind of teaching method. First we can discuss and analyze, then the lecturer will say something and then let the students to ask questions themselves and they answer. So another student said we can exchange idea with each other, and some things that the group discussion can help better understanding of the content. So for the overall comments, they also said that the right side is I have to translate their comments into the English version. So they will say it used to be a matter of guessing to read the classical text, but now it's easier to understand the meaning of the text now. And some feel it's fun. They thought this course will be very boring, but it has benefited a lot. And the assignment is interesting. The contents are fruitful. They like the way of teaching. The atmosphere is relaxed and interactive. And the last result is our exam. We can see that all CO, all the course objective have been achieved and nobody failed in the course. So now, we move to the course design, how I design the class, the assignments, and how we implement the quality talk and project-based learning into the course. So we have total of 14 weeks, and due to the COVID-19 pandemic, our class has moved to online since week 5. So the left side is the in class, the normal class in university, and start from the week 5, we conduct it online. So for all the 14 weeks, we have 6 times of group discussion. Let's see here. We have 6 times of the group discussion. And I I play as the role as a teacher. I choose the selected article first and provided with 3 to 4 small questions. So students side, they are divided into 4 groups with 4 people in each group. Our class is actually a small class, in total of 16 students, because our one batch student only got 30. So I choose the selected text, then they make it in, they form the group, then they will read the article followed by discussion, then they will take turns to speak during the discussion, write down their ideas. Even after we move online, they can still discuss in the breakout room of Zoom and share their ideas on Jamboard or Google Docs. So in the meantime, I'm not go to any other relaxing, but I will jumping in and out from their rooms and participated into their discussion. So the reason we do so is to promote their discussion. I would like to highlight here is that during this quality talk, teachers, we are not play the role as a leader or the instructor, but just now we said participant. For example, if you notice there is one student who cannot catch up with other. So if you notice that, then we can take a clarifying action. We get the students that keep talking to explain, re-explain with more details. For example, I say, I'm a bit confused just now about your argument. Can you make it clearer? Or when the whole group missed an important point. So I will sometimes jump in and say, oh, there are other groups who think so and so. So do you think this is correct? So lastly, they will present it. So we got the intervention during the whole discussion. So here is the sum of the outcomes of the discussion. This is through the Jamboard. So you can see that everyone will put effort to answer some things or try to correct others. And this is when they are conducted in the Google Doc. So for the project part, we have divided it into 2 parts. One is the quiz, one is the video making. So for this quiz, students have to learn up to 200 common basic words in classical text. But we couldn't teach each word one by one in the classroom. So we conduct it in quiz. But the way we run this quiz is not we set the question, but we did set the question, but it's the second step. We provide them the material first about each 30 words each quiz, mean each week they will learn 30 words. So students themselves will read it, and then they set 3 questions for each quiz and submit to the spectrum. Then we will from there we will select 20 questions to form a quiz. The question was with we will arrange it with the combination type of what we call tense question and authentic question in quality talk approach. Means some is very easy, we can just get the answer very quick and is very direct. But the other one, maybe you have to think, or you have to apply, or you have to link to others, only you can answer. So we will, we know if the time continue, this first week, second week, maybe the 3rd or 4th week, they will get boring, or maybe they can't complete it, then they will chin-chai do it. But we will mark out and we will say, highlight some good move of the students. So who did a good type of question, then we will take it out and say, this is quite a good example. So they will, others, they will refine their way on how to asking the question. So this is also how we push them to achieve higher quality of question asking. So last one is the video making. We set the assignment background for the video for the whole environment for this project. We said is like a war of nations. So the students, they have to first form their union by looking for another 3 members, 3 allies. So they will choose the topic they like. Then they will collect the data. They will plan what and how they are going to present their video by drafting a proposal and script. We did ask for the proposal as well. So because we want to make some intervention during their preparation. So they have to use all the knowledge that they have learned, work with their peers, arrange the tasks. Then with the freedom we are given them, they can arrange the tasks according to their strength. So our role not yet finished here. We join in their Google Docs. We will discuss with them. Sometimes if they need help, we might offer some helps. So we will also point it out if they are missing some important part or incomplete part. And we have set the rubrics as well. So on the 30th week, the second last week, all videos will upload on YouTube, and they are going to watch all the videos and assess the video according to the rubrics we have set before. So we noticed that the marks they're given actually quite the same, won't be a big difference on it. This is some of the snaps from the videos they are doing, or in Mandarin words. So in a conclusion, we can see that what was actually happened along the process of discussion and project running. Maybe the weaker students, they can learn from peers. If the stronger students, they can learn to teach peers. And most of the time they are discussing even debate, but it's all regarding on the text itself. So no matter what kind of stage they are on, no matter what level they are standing, they will definitely learn in the process and getting better than before. That's why we get the result like I shown earlier. So all the activities that have been run in this class is all on HOTS, which is the high order thinking skills, according to the Bloom's revised taxonomy. So the students need to analyze, to evaluate, and to be creative in the class rather than just memorize, understand, and apply. So the conventional teaching and learning, they just required students to sit still, to keep quiet, to listen to the lecture. But our flipped classroom requires students to think, to talk, participate in the activities, but not just for fun, even though it will get fun. So this is what we call student-centered teaching. So as a teacher, if we thought that our workload will be lesser or easier, then we are wrong. In fact, the course design have to be more detailed and more complete. So I will say we are actually also keep learning from students, because the ideas from students may also promote our thinking. They sometimes also help to identify some mistake in our teaching. So as a conclude, I say our research shows that this both quality talk and project-based learning bring a positive effect to personalized learning. And now I know I can't go back to the previous time already, looking at their sleeping eyes, then continue lecturing. We can't take it anymore. So that's all for my presentation today, and thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Yeoh.
Thank you.
Very nice project. I also enjoy looking at the slides and the video, that snapshot that your students prepared. I'm sure they enjoyed the class as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. May I ask a small question? Whether you got the chance to, based on the students' feedback throughout the class, did you manage to make some changes or some you change some of your style or some of your delivery during the whole semester? Did you get a chance to do that?
Yeah, we can see sometimes they will say, first time at the first we thought the group will be fixed, let's say to get them more convenience with the group members. So we thought maybe we set the groups for fixed. But after first and second weeks, the student will give feedback. They said, maybe I'm not really comfortable with the way this student or that student. Then after that, we switch to the mode of like they can change their teammates every week. So they are happy with that. And actually this time, the second sem I took this course is actually the second test already. Since last year, the sem 1, we already get the grant, so we already make a pilot test during another course. But that time we're focusing mainly on the quality talk, and we noticed that we are more likely to teach them quality talk rather than the content of the subject. So we changed a bit, and then it comes to this time of the result.
That's excellent. Thank you so much, Dr. Yeoh.
Thank you, Prof.
We will keep any other questions towards the end of the session, so just hold on.
Okay.
We will now move to our next presenter. Dr. Kumutha, you there? Dr. Kumutha Malar Vellasamy.
Hi, yes, I'm here.
All right, you're there. Good. Let me just introduce you. C26, Learning to Learn Microbiology, an attempt to enhance self-regulated and personalized learning among undergraduate dental students of University of Malaya. Dr. Kumutha?
Okay, thank you, Dr. Muraja. I will share my slide now.
Okay.
Can my slide be seen?
Not yet. Okay, we can see it now. Okay, you might want to do it slideshow.
Yep, sorry, just 1 second, yeah. Sorry, I accidentally closed it.
It's okay, we can try again. Okay.
Okay, is it
Yes.
up now?
Wonderful. All right.
Okay. Great.
Okay.
Okay. So I'll
yours.
start now. Okay.
Sure.
Thank you. Okay. So just to give you background, okay, as we are to other professional programs, dental undergraduate are very intensive. It also involves and high volume. So as such, continuous high concentration in order for a student to complete or excel in the program. So due to this, some students experience a culture shock syndrome, if we can call it that way. So transition from the exam-oriented and spoon-fed learning may have impact on their readiness and awareness of learning. Failure to cope may also cause them to be in an overwhelming situation or in an imbalanced physiological, psychological well-being state. So this in turn will actually bring about loss of interest in the program in general. So now let us look at the medical microbiology component. So it is part of the basic medical sciences component that is introduced to the dental students in the year 2 of the undergraduate dental curriculum. So the subject inherently requires a large amount of facts to be remembered and retrieved. So this becomes even more challenging as we are not dealing with medical microbiology alone, but at the same time there are also other basic medical science components that the student have to go through in the same year, like the pathology and pharmacology, and also combined with other dental related subjects that they have to put equal effort to actually master in that particular year 2. Okay, learning basic sciences actually forms an essential foundation for oral health therapy and dentistry, but frequently students perceive it as difficult or dry, or they get disconnected because they can't connect it to the clinical practice. Thus, the students sometimes turn into rote learning and memorizing just to pass the examination. So in addition, as the coordinators of the medical microbiology for dental curriculum for the past few years, our team actually noticed increasing lack of engagement and motivation for learning of microbiology among the dental students. So the department and coordinators felt and experienced this many times. So it is actually of our concern if we can actually improve the way they look at medical microbiology or learn medical microbiology. So this fact was actually worrying because microbiology is a very essential component in dentistry. So many oral diseases caused by microorganisms are linked to systemic diseases in the human body too. This means the health of the mouth, teeth and gums have direct connection to the health of the rest of the body. So in addition, invasive dental treatments can also increase the risk of pathogenic bacteria spreading to other parts of the body. Understanding the principles of sterilization and disinfection, principles of infection control, principles of infection spread are actually important to ensure dentists has the ability to provide quality patient care as well as protect themselves from infection. So it is definitely imperative that microbiology is learned more effectively adopting deep learning approaches rather than merely memorizing for the sake of passing exams. So that brings us to our research question. What are the approaches adopted by undergraduate dental students to microbiology learning? And will learning to learn microbiology positively influence learning approaches of undergraduate dental students to that subject? So for this, we aim to improve the undergraduate dental students' approaches to microbiology learning through training the students on learning to learn microbiology. And the specific objectives include to develop a learning to learn microbiology module for the undergraduate dental students and train them on it, and to evaluate the impact of the learning to learn module on learning approaches of the undergrad dental students. Okay, in order to achieve these objectives, this is the overall workflow that we followed. Okay, so initially we got the article approval, and then administration of learning style questionnaires to the second year dental students was done, and then learning to learn microbiology training module was implemented to stressing on the spacing effects and testing effects. First repetition, second repetition and third repetition, and after that administration of BIGS 2-factor study process questionnaire and feedback, and then complete data analysis. Okay, so this the study has been approved by the University of Malaya Research Ethics Committee. Okay, 21 of the 51 year 2 dental Bachelor of Dental Surgery program students enrolled in this study. Initially there were 22, but one of them then actually dropped out of the study. So this study was conducted for a duration of 6 months. Okay, so these are the we go on to the first and second objective, which is to develop the learning to learn microbiology module and then train the students on the learning to learn microbiology module. Okay, so this as the first step under the development of the learning to learn microbiology module, we attempted to identify the learning style of the students using a Honey-Mumford questionnaire. Okay, this is the Honey-Mumford questionnaire this is the Honey-Mumford learning style questionnaire used to identify the learning style of the students basically. And upon completion of the questionnaire, the students will be grouped into 4 different groups of activists, reflector, theorists or pragmatists based on their answers to the questions. Okay, and so based on the results of this study, majority of the students, which is 68.18% of them, were found to be reflectors, and some of them were pragmatists or reflector plus pragmatists or plus theories, and also only one of them were a theorist. Okay, so what is a reflector? To put it in a simple way, if we are asked to assemble this, some of us will start off with building straight away, or some of us will stop and think first. Some of us will read the instructions and start doing it, and some of us will ask for help. So a reflector will be the one who will stop and think. They like to observe and have a think before they start doing anything. After students identify their individual learning style, they were asked to reflect on it and think back. When we ask them if it is accurate for them, and surprisingly they said yes, meaning it is quite closely aligned to their personal natures of learning style. So why did we identify the individual learning style of the students? This was done because it is important for students to have a knowledge of their individual learning style. Not all students will have the same learning style. We are not actually measuring this as something that we could we could change. But as they are more aware of their preferred learning style, it will allow them to align their studies with their learning style. This will make learning more personalized and effective for them. Okay, so as a second step of the development of the learning to learn module, the learning to learn microbiology training module was developed, and it was adapted from the learning to learn medicine module that was previously developed in the Faculty of Medicine. So the training module was then used to train the students in learning to learn microbiology. So the module that was developed was then imparted to the students through a series of lecture and training sessions. Some of the content in this training module include the understanding of how each individual learns, theories of learning, and what is expected in the dental school, why we learn, and learning approaches such as the surface and deep learning approaches, and how do we learn and remember. This is on the memory retrieval process. So best practice using evidence-based learning on spacing effect and how to schedule the studies to maximize learning, and also the testing effect and resilience and grit. Okay, the training was conducted as a group activity. The students were divided into groups of 5 or 6 per group and trained to do flashcards using the H5P platform on Spectrum, and also how to do the revision at different space intervals of 24 hours, 1 week and 3 weeks. So the students then made their own flashcards based on the different topics that were taught in the medical microbiology course. These flashcards were used for revision at different space intervals in a student-led revision session in the intervals of within 24 hours, 1 week and 3 weeks. This activity was conducted as a group work, as it will give them the best experience of collaborative learning, which will be helpful and motivate them to do space repetition, retrieval practice and testing effects using the flashcards. They were able to test it on each other in the group and also individually on themselves. So now we move on to the third objective, which is to evaluate the impact of the Learning to Learn module on the learning approaches of the students. So after completion of their continuous assessment for semesters 2, the students' self-perception on their approaches to learning microbiology was obtained using the revised 2-factor study process questionnaire created by John Biggs. So the 2 factors that we will be able to understand through this study is the surface approach and the deep approach to learning. This questionnaire is a 20-item questionnaire whereby 10 items of the questionnaire will be related to the deep and surface approach, and out of the 10 items, each of the deep and surface approach, 5 items will reflect the motives and the next 5 reflect the strategy adopted by the students for their study approach. Statistical analysis of the data were performed using the SPSS software. Okay, so this is the big 2-factor process questionnaire that was used. It was conducted as a retrospective pre, meaning the pre and the post perceptions were taken at the same time. Okay, so the data obtained was not normally distributed, so we used the non-parametric test for analysis. We found that the surface approach prior to the intervention is more than the post. So we can see this in the median value where the pre is higher than the post. This indicates that the mode of learning microbiology had a surface element prior to intervention and it did not change post-intervention. Since we did not see any significant changes in the surface approach, the subscales of surface motive and surface strategy was not conducted. Okay, and in terms of the deep approach demonstrated higher median post compared to the pre. So this may indicate that the intervention probably had a positive effect in improving the learning of microbiology. Our initial concern was that the students lacked engagement in learning microbiology. This may indicate that they have started engaging better. Thus, we went on to do the subcategories under deep approach, which are the deep motive and deep strategy. For the deep motive approach, we did not see a significant change post-intervention. Although the deep motive had not changed significantly, we can see that the positive ranks, meaning the deep motive post, has changed for 11 out of the 21 students. So, however, statistical significance is not seen, maybe due to the small number of students that were included in the study, or it could also be attributed to the short duration that the study was carried out. This study was only done for 6 months. So given a longer period of time, we may be able to see some significant changes in the deep motive approach. So the deep strategic approach was found to have changed significantly post-intervention. This means that although still a deep approach, but it may still be in a strategic mode or achievement mode, way of learning microbiology, and they are probably not still completely in a motivated approach. So apart from the 2-factor study process questionnaire, we also got some general feedback from the students. So among the 21 respondents, more than 90% believed that the spaced repetition method helped them to remember better, and more than 95% agreed to consider this approach despite any method of study they choose to use. And flashcard strategy was stated as a useful study method, but the time required for preparation of flashcards was the biggest challenge to the students due to their very packed schedule. There are some limitation and critical reflection in this study. So the study had only lower than 50% of participants from the whole student cohort. So the workload of the students was the limiting factor towards participation in this study, and the results are also actually based on self-reported perception only, and the change in study approach cannot be solely attributed to the study. There could be other factors. So as a conclusion, every student should know how they learn or know their learning style. This study can definitely claim that it did not increase the surface approach and did not decrease the deep approach. However, there may be other reasons for improvement seen in the students. This could be because the current generation, which is the Z generation, they are more realist than idealist. So the more they know about how they learn, and they become better. And when they see the effort made by the teachers, they also could have become more motivated to learn microbiology better. And the understanding about the importance of microbiology in dentistry could have improved over time, making them become better learners. Efforts to make students learn to learn should be made as a continuous and sustained effort. And the packed schedule of the dental year 2 students makes it very difficult for us to find time to do this as a physical program. So maybe this can be converted into a online program and continuously be engaged with the students to improve their learning of microbiology. And these are some of the reference used in this study. And finally, I would like to acknowledge EDEC for the research grant, and also Associate Professor Dr. Nurintan Murad, the Deputy Dean of Undergraduate Program for Faculty of Dentistry, who was very supportive, and the administrative staffs of Faculty of Dentistry, Dr. Selvan and Dr. Siti Nurjawahir from Merdu, who also helped a lot with the study, and of course the dental year 2 students who participated in this study. And with that, I thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Dental learning microbiology, is that a year 2 compulsory subject, yeah?
Yes, it is a compulsory subject.
So that's nice to know that you have an effort put by the academics in order to understand the students better. You mentioned in your conclusion that your students appreciate the efforts done by the lecturers. Would you be able to elaborate a little bit more on that effort done by the lecturers?
Actually, because we try to include more of the even for some of the subjects, the students do their own flashcards, right? And then we also encourage the lecturers to include additionally include some flashcards for them to do a revision using those, and also to encourage them to actually add on to the flashcards made by the lecturers. So and also there is a lot of constant engaging where the students are allowed to use the Spectrum platform actively to engage with the lecturers, and they can discuss with the lecturers very often.
And how are the takes from the lecturers on this? Are they positive about it? Too much work, or
Actually,
any comments
many
from?
of the lecturers are very supportive because I think it is generally the main aim was to actually make the students understand microbiology better, and because it is very important in a dental setting for the students to know microbiology per se, right? Because it's also a way for them to provide improved patient care, and also for them to actually take care of themselves. And in the recent light of the COVID pandemic, I think this is one of a very important factor for them to have known microbiology and actually not just have memorized it before, right? So understanding and knowing would actually help them to prevent themselves from getting COVID, and at the same time help the patient if they have any dental associated problems, right? So yeah.
Okay, thank you very much, Dr. Kumutha.
Okay, thank you.
We have a question from the floor. Let me try to get that. Question is, will this approach be suitable for other year of study?
Actually, yes, it would be suitable because, as we said, it is actually the space repetition and also the space repetition and then the testing on themselves. That is the strategy that is used in this flashcard approach. So the retrieval process will actually help them to remember and understand the subject better. So in any year of study, I think this would be a very suitable method.
That's great.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing, and I'm sure all of us are learning from you. Oh, we have another question. Hang on. We have another question. How to overcome the limitation mentioned by yourself?
Okay, the limitations actually for the participation of the student, right? Because there is only 50% participation. Because one thing is they are very worried about their heavy workload. As even in this study, we actually had to take their time after 6 o'clock and or after they have a whole day of lectures and everything. So the students are very worn out actually. So that is one of the worry that they don't want to participate in this study. So for one thing, we can make it into an online module, so that will actually help them to do it at their own pace, right? So because they don't have to be physically present and everything. So we can also do a follow-up through a longer time period to see if they are able to achieve the microbiological concept that is being taught.
Okay. So yes, okay. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you.
We will now move to our next presenter, Dr. Intan Suhana. Dr. Intan, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, I'll introduce you. The next presentation is C27, Improving the Learning of Anatomy for Year 1 Dental Students Using Online Quizzes and Personalized Learning. Dr. Intan, floor is yours.
I'm trying to get a slideshow. Okay.
Excellent. You may proceed. You may start.
Hi, good morning, everyone. I'm
Morning.
Zulkifly from Department of Anatomy. Today is my turn to present our research entitled Improving the Learning of Anatomy for Year 1 dental students using online quizzes and personalized learning. Before I proceed, I would like to thank ADEC for giving me this opportunity, and also to thank the LITEC grant for sponsoring this project. I would also like to acknowledge the help I received from my two teammates, Dr. Snehata Prashan and Mr. Muhammad Amri throughout the study. Okay, as a background, what is anatomy? Anatomy is the study of human body. It is one of the core subjects in Year 1 dentistry and in medical education as a whole. However, learning a structure in great detail can be very factual, and this leads to rote memorization in comparison to understanding the depth of the topic. How is anatomy usually delivered? So it is typically practical classes and tutorials. These have been done for so many years, of course with many revisions, but by doing this, we may not always suit all student learning style. So this brings us to learning style. I think by the third day of the conference, I think most of us would be very familiar with learning style. Students do have different learning styles, and according to Neil Fleming Valk model of student learning, there are 4 different types of learning style, either the visual ones, or auditory learners. We also have kinesthetic learners who like to do things on their own, getting involved in the class, and we also have the read and write kind of learners. But most students don't know what kind of learning style they have, but we are talking about dental Year 1 students here. They have been doing a lot of studying throughout their lives, and they must have developed an efficient way on knowledge acquisition method that would suit their style. So when we're thinking about this project, we wanted to use students' own learning style to maximize and improve their learning of anatomy. So this would be good because it would be more student directed. Students can decide on their own method of learning. It would be free for them to learn at their own pace. And of course, we have to have some output to demonstrate knowledge acquisition. So this brings us to personalized learning. So personalized learning is good because we're using all these different learning styles to incorporate into the course. We wanted to incorporate the personalized learning in all aspects of the learning process. So during in-class activities, perhaps also included during pre or post-class activities. Throughout our literature, we found out that the Kahoot gaming have shown some increase in classroom engagement. So we thought that probably Kahoot would appeal to those who are more kinesthetic and like to get themselves involved with the class. And then we also have found that self-learning methods have been shown to increase subject understanding. So we would also like to incorporate that in the form of personalized learning package for the student. So this brings us to our objectives. Firstly, to improve engagement and the learning of anatomy using in-class Kahoot and post-lecture spectrum quizzes. And secondly, to implement personalized learning methods in pre-selected topics to improve topic understanding. So this is how we design the experiment. We have several topics throughout the year. Actually, we have 42 different topics for anatomy in Year 1 dentistry. So we pre-selected 10 control topics and 10 intervention topics. These topics are relatable to or comparable to each other. They're similar topics, not the same but similar. So for the control topics, we are not going to disturb the current curriculum on how the topics are delivered. So we keep the didactic lectures practicals and tutorials, but we add a little bit of spectrum quiz because spectrum quiz have always been there but has never been investigated in terms of effectiveness. So we wanted to test that. As for the intervention topics or the intervention group, we keep the didactic lectures, practicals and tutorials, keep the spectrum quiz, but incorporate in-class Kahoot Quiz to improve in-class engagement, and also incorporate personalized learning activities in a form of assignments. And for the assessment, we will assess student learning experience using online questionnaire and assess student performance during in these particular topics, the selected topics, during continuous assessment 1 and 2. So for methodologies, we use Kahoot. Kahoot is an online quiz or gaming platform. This is serve as an end of class activity for the intervention topics. So for those of you who are not familiar with Kahoot, so this is how a Kahoot quiz would look like. Okay, we actually gave them 5 different questions that represent the lecture for the day. So this is the question. So students get to choose their answer here. It is time limited, so they have to answer fast in order to get better score. So how do they answer this quiz? Is using their respective gadget by putting in their pin there. And then, for example, in this particular question, identify the following movement. This girl is moving her elbow. This is called elbow flexion. So the answer would be this one. The nice thing about Kahoot is at the end of the session, at the end of all 5 quizzes, all 5 questions, they would have a leaderboard. So students get to see who did well for that day. So in this is a actual finding on that day. So for introduction of anatomy, this particular student did very well because he answered correctly and answered also very fast. So we did a little bit of gave them token of appreciation to for their participation, of course. Next is the spectrum quiz. This is our spectrum. Okay. So for spectrum quiz, this is available for all lectures, not just for the intervention topics. So we also gave them 5 questions to attempt. They are available only after lecture, but it's meant for formative assessment, therefore not compulsory. But we do mention that they could, we do encourage them to do this in order to see where they are or how they fare with the topic. Okay, next on the personalized learning approach, we decided to give them assignments. These assignments are in the form of clinical problems that requires basic anatomical understanding in order to solve. So, as usual, it is student directed. The students are given ample time to study the case with multiple choice of output. Our role is just as facilitation and to appraise the output that they produce. So, some of these activities were done pre-MCO, and during pre-MCO, students are happy to move do the assignments in a group. However, post-MCO, during MCO, whereby they are all back in their hometown, most of the students choose to do the assignment individually, but they are allowed to do in a group. They're just not preferred. So these are the type of output that they provided us. Some provided us with essay writing, some with posters, some with video upload. There are students who provided us with some kind of a song. There were also comic strip and any artsy visual kind of thing, including drawing or digital art. So here's the example of the group assignment. Okay, so they were discussing some case together. This was done in our Anatomy Resource Center in our department. Here is another example of group work activities. This was done in anatomy tutorial room. For individual assessment, this was given to us during MCO. So these are examples of digital posters that they provided us. Some are also delivered drawing and comic strip, which is very interesting. Okay, How do we acquire the data? Okay, for assessment of student perception, we use online questionnaire at the end of the academic year. It's a Likert-like scale, with 1 being strongly disagree and 5 strongly agree as usual. For assessment of student performance, we have we selected all these 10 control topics and 10 intervention topics. All the questions were analysed. In Corners 1, the examination was done face-to-face. So we have one best answer type of question, modified essay question, and short answer question. However, for Corners 2, because it was during MCO, so for the benefit of everybody, it was done online and only one best answer type of question. So the discrepancy on the types of question would be a limitation for this study. Okay, again, as I mentioned, we have 10 control topics and 10 intervention topics. These are comparable topics. For example, we have introductory topics. So we compare introduction to muscular system to introduction to skeletal system. One is control and one is the intervention group. Similarly, embryology topics are compared to another embryology topics, and gross anatomy topic was compared to another gross anatomy topics. Then performance in the PET topics were compared. So here's our results. For the benefit of this presentation, I will only present the student learning experience and their performance during Corners 1 and 2. Here's the demographic of our group. Okay, this class is predominantly Malay and Chinese ethnicity. Okay, we have a total of 51 students, and 2/3 of them are actually females. Okay, with regards to perception on in-class Kahoot, okay, a total of 62% found that Kahoot helped them to understand the anatomy topic better. Whereas 78% of them are agreeable that they had more fun during lecture when there's Kahoot. When we look at engagement, we look at how many students are actually involved in each Kahoot session. We notice that, as I mentioned previously, we have 51 students. Even in some of the Kahoot session, like Kahoot 6, Kahoot 7, Kahoot 8, we had more than the actual number of students. And this is, I suspect, their attempts. They attempted the quiz in 2 or 3 different gadgets in order to increase their chance of winning. Okay. Next, on perception on spectrum quizzes. For the statement spectrum quizzes I did after the lecture helped me understand the topic better, 84% of them are in agreement that spectrum helps. Spectrum quizzes helps. And on another 80% find it is useful for the study throughout the course. So these are all high percentage. However, when we look at the participation on spectrum quizzes, these are analysed on intervention topics. As I mentioned previously, we have 51 students. Only in the first 2 quizzes that we saw full engagement, whereas the numbers dwindle throughout the course. These could be very well related to the fact that it is formative, student directed, and there's no actual reward at the end of it. On their perception on the personalised learning assignments that were introduced throughout the course, the assignments I did throughout the course helped me understand the topic better. Okay, 83% are in agreement, whereby whether they enjoyed or not the assignments, only 68% of them are in agreement. Okay, overall student, we also look at their student performance just to see whether there's any real benefit or not by comparing topics that have personalized learning activities in and compared to topics that don't have any extra personalized learning activities. So as mentioned previously, I compared some intro topics together, some embryology topic together, and several gross topic together, and we noticed that 5 of these topics actually reached statistical significance, mostly in the intervention group showing better performance, except for this particular group which shows the control having better performance. overall performance was only slightly increased in the intervention group. So as a summary, okay, on student perception, students generally gave positive reaction towards all personalized learning methods introduced throughout the course this year. Okay, in class activity Kahoot showed good student participation and engagement, whereas spectrum quizzes were well liked but lacked engagement. Next, on student performance, being actively involved in their learning actually improved their performance during continuous assessments on the several selected topics. For innovation, in this study, students are required to produce an output to indicate that they have done self-learning. This helps students to be more innovative and creative with the delivery of output. So this could probably lead to future student-instructor collaboration in content creation. On impact to community and society, by having these activities throughout the year, reduce face-to-face interaction, especially in the later part of it. This is suitable for online learning, especially when physical distancing or MCO is enforced. So with that, I thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Intan. How nice is it to have personalized learning for your students using online quizzes? Did they enjoy it?
Yes.
That's great. I'm waiting for if there's any questions from the floor. Looks like there's no questions yet.
Okay.
But I can see the enthusiasm. Okay, there's one coming. Hang on. No? Okay, the question is from the reviewer. How much confidence do you have in this data in achieving its objectives? Why?
Okay, so this is a very small study. We have a very limited experience in doing teaching and learning kind of project, but we really wanted to see the difference, the changes with the small changes that we did throughout the course. So I have a little bit of confidence, but I cannot be so extravagant about it, because it is just on one particular class with just 10 sample subjects. Probably if I were to have more time and I could have more people to be involved with the project, then I could do on all topics, then we can have a more conclusive findings.
Okay, but I'm sure the engagement and the joy and happiness is there in the classroom.
Yes.
So we will conclude with that since there's no more questions coming.
Okay.
Okay, just hang on until the end of the session in case we have other further questions, yeah?
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you so much, Dr. Intan. We will move now to Madam Shariza Sharuddin. Topic C28, a personalized project strengthening medical students' soft skills. So, Madam Shariza, are you there? Okay.
Okay. Hi. Yes, I'm here. Hello. Assalamualaikum. Yeah.
Waalaikumsalam. Okay. You may start. You can display, project your slide. Slideshow. Okay. Guna slideshow.
Slideshow from beginning. Slideshow beginning. Okay.
Right.
Okay. Can I start now?
Yes, please.
All right. Okay. Assalamualaikum and a very good afternoon, everyone. I'm Sharija. There are two other members. We have Madam Nina and Nurul Ain in my team. We are from Language Unit, Faculty of Languages and Linguistics. First of all, thank you to LITEC. We are glad to be part of this. Our topic for today is a personalized project, strengthening medical students' soft skill. So let me brief about the course. This is English language for medicine, and the code is GTE 1114. And this is for first year medical students. It is a university course. It is compulsory for all medical students. It is 6 credit hours course. The duration of the class is 7 hours per week for 12 weeks. The assessments include various skills. They are reading, writing, and speaking. Before we discuss about the topic, I would like to share some quotes pertaining soft skills in medical field by Malaysian Pediatric Association past president Dr. Ent Seminar. Okay, so here in the Star newspaper 2017, he mentioned that medicine and humanity are inseparable. He also added that it is becoming less common to see doctors greeting people in hospitals when they walk past each other. It is form of interaction with patients is always good, and more emphasis needs to be placed in the teaching of soft skills for doctors. However, he feels that soft skills appear to be deteriorating among fresh graduates. Okay, so our study here focus on the use of personalized PSA project to help strengthen students' soft skills. So what is PSA here? PSA is Public Service Announcement Project. So let me give you a very brief definition about what PSAs is about. PSAs are advertisements designed to serve community interests by raising awareness of and modifying public attitudes about significant public issues. Okay, for this project, there are 3 stages. The first stage is PSA storyboard. The second stage is PSA performance. And finally is the PSA poster presentation. So in the PSA storyboard, the student present their idea using a storyboard form. They use storyboard applications, and in stage 2, they perform their public service announcement in front of all the students and the teachers. And in stage 3, they presented their public service announcement in a poster form, again in front of the students in the classroom. Here are some examples of the students' storyboard. So in stage 1, the students they discuss the focus of their PSA, and they come up with a storyline. So they then shared the storyboard using social media platforms like Twitter, their Instagram, and also Facebook. So here in this stage, they receive feedbacks, and they can also share their thoughts with other students. They use the hashtag GTE114 in their social media platforms. So in stage 2 is where they perform in front of the teachers and all the students. So here we have 2 performances, the best 2 performances, because we had a competition for this stage just to inject some motivation to the students. So let's watch the first video.
Hey, my name is hepatitis virus. Don't vaccinate because you know that I don't like it. Save your liver cells, go auto
The title of
Don't you
this
worry, I will make you die soon.
investigate or to
Vaccination
procrastinate.
is not the way. Yeah, me and measles just want to say eradicating the human race. Vaccination is too late. Yeah. Okay, you know what, measles? Screw this. Screw this. I thought I had. I can't do this anymore. Let's just get it. Hey, shut up. Anyone else do it?
Mommy, why didn't you like me? I hate you. I wish that was it.
Okay, this is the second video. And the title is
Headshot.
You've been playing for a whole day. What are you doing?
So personally, we teachers feel that this is the most interesting part, the interesting part for this Pre-SA project, because we can see the different side of the students, because some of them, they were very passive in the classroom. Now, let me show some examples of the poster done by the students. So we have topics like anorexia, and this is the topic on vaccinate, don't procrastinate. They shared some important details in the poster. So we have more examples here. They have put up some important details like symptoms, effects. They also shared the hotline numbers in the poster. Okay, so how did we conduct this study? We had a survey questionnaires. The pre-PSA questionnaires is to find out whether students know what soft skills and PSA are about. And the post questionnaires is to examine students' perception and attitude towards the importance of soft skills. The soft skill analysis of this public service announcement project includes communication skills and teamwork skills. So the soft skill analysis here is based from the soft skill form where we measure the students' soft skills achievement. And there were 149 responses in this study. Okay, let's look at the timeline. All right, we started with pre-PSA questionnaire in week 3, and storyboard, we introduced storyboard in week 6. They performed in week 8, and in week 12, they presented their poster and they did their post-PSA questionnaire. Okay, here are some results on students' perception and attitude towards the importance of soft skills. So we have here 2 questions. Item number 4 here. The question is, in your opinion, which soft skills are assessed by the lecturer with reference to the PSA project? So from the chart here, item number 4, we can perceive that students feel that teamwork and communication skills are important for this course, because here 91.3% they thought that these are the skills that we will assess them. So in item number 5, the question is, in your opinion, what are the best soft skills to have to succeed in medical schools? So here 97.3% of the students feel that teamwork skills is the best skills to have to succeed in medical schools, followed by 95.3, which is communication skills. We also ask students whether they feel that the project has helped strengthen their soft skills. So here we have two pie charts. The first pie chart here, 82% feel that the project has strengthened their soft skill. Only 3% felt otherwise. Okay, and in the second pie chart, 32% of the students, they feel that they have improved the most in their confidence level, and followed by 23% in presentation skills. Alright, so to what extent this PSA project has strengthened the medical students' soft skills? Here are the comparison from the last 2 semesters for communication skills and teamwork skills. So if you look at communication skills, it has increased to 56.57 in 2019, whereby teamwork skills, it has decreased to 67.8. Alright, so here are some explanation of the results. Okay, for communication skills, we feel that it has increased because of several reasons. Okay, in 2019, we introduced PSA project, Public Service Announcement Project. So this is the first time we introduced. It is a group-based assessment. They were in the same group for all 3 stages. So this has definitely improved their communication skills, because they were with the same group members throughout the process. Okay, whereby in teamwork skills, it has decreased to 67.8%. We feel that this is possibly due to conflict that arose during the duration of the project. Okay, however, it is interesting to note that earlier students mentioned that they feel it is important skill to succeed in medical school. However, here it shows that some of them still can improve on this skill. Okay, this study has definitely impacted the students. So next, I would like to highlight some of the impacts to the students. All right, definitely it enhanced the students' creativity, because from the beginning of this project, they were allowed to choose their topic, and they presented their topic in various ways. Besides that, it also built good relationship with others. They can build good relationship with others because they were in the same group throughout the process. Creating awareness, yes, it definitely has opened up their eyes to look at, current and global issues related to medical. Employability, it definitely confidence. Of course, it has boosted their confidence level because they have to present and they have to perform throughout the process. Next is employability. Okay, it definitely prepares them for their future employment. Okay. Technology. They have explored and utilized technology throughout the whole process. And they finally, from this project, the students learn to be more innovative. Okay, sorry. Okay, most importantly, it will also impact on the society, not just the students. Okay, why? As medical practitioners, they do not deal with patient alone. They also must interact with patient caregivers, health professionals, and also hospital staff. So therefore, it is very important for them to have a very good soft skills. Before I end, I would like to share this quote by Heather, founder of Doctors Crossing. It doesn't matter how smart or skilled a doctor is, if he or she can't establish good rapport with patients or staff, patient care is going to be compromised. So with that, I would like to say thank you.
This one,
Do we still have?
Stop.
Yes.
Madam Shariza, have you concluded your presentation? Is that it?
Yes, I just did.
Okay, because we thought it was it's okay because you went back to your beginning slide. We thought it was your. It's okay. Okay, so thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah. Wait there.
Sure. So it's interesting to have a look at the soft skills among medical students when you teach them. It's a language course, right?
Yes.
Okay. Just a little question. Were you able to gauge that the students are able to translate the soft skills that you introduce or you talk about in the class with the actual soft skills that they will be practicing? For example, put it in context with the patient or colleague, rapport among the colleague as a medical practitioner in their practicing world later. Were you able? Do you think the students were able to gauge and contextualize what they believe teamwork during the assignment and the course is similar to teamwork when they are actually working, or any other soft skills that you mentioned? Any opinion on that?
Thank you for the question. Yes, we hope that they can later when they start working, they will be able to practice this skill, especially the teamwork skills, because it is important for them to know that it's not it's not just the skill needed, but there are other skills. It's just not the academic knowledge needed, but there are other skills, especially soft skills like teamwork, because they have to work with other people and they have to be aware that that is what they are going to face in the future. So we hope that by putting them in the same group and because they have been working with the same group members throughout that 10 weeks, we hope that it will help and give them some like awareness that
yes, definitely.
Yeah.
Thank you. We have 2 more questions from the floor. The first one is, how do you measure the communication and team skills in your teaching? How did you measure it? That's the question.
Is the form and the assessment? The soft skill form?
So you use the soft skill form in order for them to, so there's the skill, the 0 to 5 skill that you mentioned, yeah?
This is this public service announcement is under a speaking assessment, because there are 3 other skills So this is part under speaking assessment. This part
Okay.
of this announcement.
All right. And team skills are also using the same skills
Yes.
and okay. Second one is, what do you need to know to capture the complexity in observing and measuring soft skills achievement?
Again, can you please
Okay. You can also see the question if you are able to on the live Q&A section. What do you need to know? It is okay, I will read it. What do you need to know to capture the complexity in observing and measuring soft skills achievement?
I'm sorry, but I feel that in looking at communication skills and team skills, right? Okay, there are various ways. So we try to implement this new project to see if it can give better results in terms of the students skills.
Yeah.
Because there are various ways, especially in teaching language. It can be done in many ways. So we are trying, to do this PSA because this is not, test oriented, and this is definitely personalized learning because they were free to choose their own topics and they work in their group. So we were there to just monitor them and guide them. So it is their project where they design from the beginning. So we hope that this can be one of the way to increase these skills in the future.
Thank you so much. Yeah, I believe when they start working, they will remember you as the person who actually instill and emphasize on them the importance of soft skills when they start working. So thank you so much for the innovation. We appreciate that. The PSA assignment is really great, and we really enjoy watching the samples of the videos that you shared with us. So thank you, Madam Shariza.
Okay, thank you again.
Thank you. We will move now to our last presenter for the
Hello.
hi, Dr. Irene, you there?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll share my PowerPoint slide now.
Yes, if you could put the microphone closer, or is it me?
Can you see my slide now?
Not yet.
Okay. How can I go out from? Okay, stop sharing. Now?
Share your slide. Okay. Okay, we can see. Would you like to click on? Yeah, would you like to click on slideshow?
Yes.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
Very good afternoon. And first of all, I would like to thank you, the EDEC committee, for organizing such events for us to present. Although there's been a lot of constraints going on, but I really appreciate this opportunity. And also to thank for the grant that provided to us to do this kind of project in our class. Yeah. So my title for the project is actually personalized theory learning in big classroom, a credit confident approach forward. So there are 5 of us working in this project. I'm the PI. So the presentation will roughly cover these 6 areas: the issue, the objective, and the contextualized definition for the project, and the implementation model, the result, and conclusion. I think that's the issue. Now, we know that incorporating topics of theory in every learning of every knowledge area is very important. However, the teaching and the learning process of it has been very challenging to the student itself and also the lecturers. Right? So most of the reason behind this is because of the meticulous content and also something of the content which actually needs higher level of cognitive technicality for the students to understand. And because of that, the psychology anxiety very quickly appears, and the factuals and also the abstruse concept also make students quickly become very bored with the classroom teaching. This environment, this situation actually become worse when it comes to a big classroom, where we know that this classroom is very notorious with a very little attention for each of the students. And we also find that actually in my first and second year teaching, I was using the deductive approach to teach, where I actually tell the student, let the student look through the theories, and then we start, bringing in the example to make them understand what the theories mean. But at the end of the class, I found that the students actually only blurring through the process because they are just presented with the facts and all those things, and not much of the active learning actually taking place. So in that very passive environment, we fail to hook the student interest. And further, because we know that every student has very different learning ability and also optimum learning methods, right? So we find that some of them start to understand, some of them are yet to grab the understanding, but some of them really do not get what the whole lecture is about. So obviously there are many of them actually left unaddressed. Many of the students who still understand but don't know what to do. Yeah, so the one classroom very quickly become divided between those people who can follow through very easily and also those who just blurring through the process. Yeah, so consequently, we found that those students who are yet to grab the understanding lost interest and they lost confidence, and some of them are very frustrated and they don't know what to do actually. So because of these situations, we recognize that there's a need for us to address some teaching and learning pedagogy so that some changes can be done to it. So these are the three research gaps that we identified for the project. One is there's a need to ignite the interest in learning theoretical topics, although this can be very boring from the surface. The second is the need to restore and impart students' confidence through the learning process when they are working on the theories. The third one is want to leave no one student unaddressed in the big classroom. Yeah. So the underlying methods for these to address this three research gap is the personal learning and credit confident approach. Now the rationale for using these tools lies behind the psychological hurdle and the meticulous content with theories learning, right? And we know that effective personal learning designed for teaching theory must also be able to impact confidence among the students. So that's why these two come intertwined together in our project. So it's also corresponded by these three research objectives there. Now, since we're talking about big classroom, in my class, each of these class we have at least 100 students, which is a very big class. So I can see that the context of this big classroom and the small classroom obviously is very different. So although we know that this personal learning has been very differently defined across many different fields, however, the common ultimate outcome for the personal learning is that we want to optimize the learning at the very individual level of the students, right? However, given such kind of very differences between the big classroom and a very small classroom or a medium-sized classroom, we have to be aware that the personal learning, the way how learning can be personalized for big classroom is obviously very different. How they can meet the needs of the students' strength, the skills, and also the interest, right? And so one of the biggest things that makes the big classroom different from a small classroom is that the teaching of learning of a very big classroom have to permeate through to the very personal level of the student's understanding while covering the whole class concurrently. So these things have to happen concurrently, okay, with the individual attention at the same time covering the whole class. So with that, we come up with our working definition. So we assume that personalized learning happens when each student has sufficient chance to actively involve in the thinking and communication process of learning activities done in small peer learning team in the class. So this is basically our working definition. Now on the other hand, we have this credit confident approach. Now this approach actually allow the creative mechanism or techniques or tactics, okay, to be used in the classroom to induce sense making among students during the learning activities, such that every new learning point student get could be organized, imparted, and promote confidence to the learners, our students. So this is the contextualized definition we apply for a project. Okay, very quickly, let's go to see the implementation of the project. This project covers 6 steps, right, in one single session of class. There are second phase and third phase that comes after that on the 6th day and also the 10th day to test the understanding of the student. But this is the first phase, which covers 6 steps. So the first step is that we want to immerse the student into their problems and effectualization, which means that we want to build the student's conscience and lead the students to vividly recognize their very own problems of learning theories in the classroom. Some of them may know the problem, they face the problem, they experience the problem, but they do not really recognize what the problem is. So it's very important to have this very first step when we actually bring the student into the immersion, right? Bring them into their own conscience to know that they have these problems. So what we do for this very step is that questions are asked to the students as to how the theories were taught in the class, in their classes, and how they normally prepare for an exam. And you can see from the answer that they show us and the reflection they show us, most of them talking about memorizations as a way for the to get understanding. Yeah, and then after the first question, after a few questions were asked and the discussion was done, so students were provided 4 simple definitions of the theory and were given time to memorize. Actually, they were given around 8 to 10 minutes to memorize the 4 theories. Very simple theory. So they took the time, right? And after that, students were asked to turn back to the classroom and we asked them to recall what they have by hearted. Now, the actions of asking the student to stand up and to turn back to the classroom actually has nothing to do with the content. But we just want to do our best to, find every opportunity and also possibility to move our students, to mobilize them in the class, to move them, because when they move, when they're involved in movement and actions, they tend to remember more as the time passes by. So, the final mini step in this first step is that we also want the student to come to an effectualization. So we ask the student actually to reflect to one survey question, our first survey questions, which is, if they are given 2 definitions and they were asked to correctly match them to the respective theory, how many would them think that they would get it correct? And students are asked to write it down on the right hand so they can actually compare later on. They don't forget about the number. Alright, so also writing down on the right hand is something that is also try to make the student feel very easy and feel very comfortable with themselves, and also feel happy, the fun is there. The second step is that we enter the enlightenment and also unfolding the promise and create curiosity among the students. Since we're going to learn something about theory, and students always think that learning theory is going to be something very different, very difficult, and very new, so we want to enlighten them first in the way that we can actually learn theory rather than the one that they used to do, which is memorization. So what the lectures do here is that I enlighten students on the inductive approach I use versus the deductive approach I used to use during my first and second year's teaching. So this inductive approach actually basically involves students soliciting the students' information and their opinions about a certain situations, which only then will lead them into the understanding of the theory, certain theory, right? So the second thing is that what we do in this little session is that we take the students on real examples to show the power of memory building rather than memorization. So we try to ask a few students to volunteer themselves and talk about something that's happened in their childhood in a long time. So every one of them seems to be very easy to give the answer because this is something that is already built in the memory, and there's no element of force there. There's no elements of false understanding. Yeah. So after that, students were led into another discussions where they are asked to retrieve information and retrieve something about what they have learned just 1 year ago in a course that they like. Yeah, and we found that students was not able to do that. Some of them managed to recall some of the points, but many of them did not manage to give us the complex information or the complete information regarding certain topics. And I asked them that time, if you are given the same exam again to do it now, would you think that you will be able to get the same grade that you get during that exam, your past exam? Many of the majority of them raised their hands saying that they are not able to do that. Why? Because they do not remember anymore. Yeah, so it's go to the memorization. So we try to enlighten them that that way is what we're doing by the memorization. Also, the way that we're doing with the theory learning now, where if I give you the theory and you go and memorize it, all the definition, all the descriptions, it's going to be the same. It's going to come up with the same effect that they're going to have now when I ask them, can you do it or not now? Yeah. So after that, because we want to create some kinds of curiosity in the students so that they have the kind of hunger to go to get the answer later on in the activities we provide them. So I give them a promise. I promise them that they will be surprised at how much they're going to find out, how much they know about the theory which they claim which is very new to them. Right? So the third step is the solicitation of students' prior knowledge and scaffolding students' sense-making process through drawing and mapping together. So the creative confidence elements we use here, this is the beginning of the activities where we really do the work. Yeah, so the creative confidence elements we use here is that we capitalize on students' prior knowledge to reconstruct new knowledge. The second is that we use logical ordering to introduce the four theories. There are many ways we can actually creatively introduce something where it can actually lead one to another without any memorization. And the third one is we try to use constructive leading to the intended CRO, meaning that the lecturer is going to lead the question, ask the questions, prompt the questions, from question to question, and improvise from what students answer to lead it into the intended CRO that we want them to achieve. Alright, so basically, practically what we do is, if you can see in the picture here, we use mahjong paper, because on that day, we're going to learn 4 main theories that will involve entrepreneurship. So we use 4 main mahjong papers, and the use of these 4 different mahjong papers actually, the purpose is to make vivid to students the 4 different theories to be explored during that day, and we want to create the chance for students to see how they can actually transition from one theory to another theory without needing memorization. So we want to create that space of transition and make it very clear to them how the things happen. Yeah? And so in order to start the activities, the lecturer is going to state the starting point. I'm going to say something. I'm going to put down something and draw something. For example, if I start with the theory of psychology, I'm going to put something down, and then I keep asking the student questions and leading them, and we try to snowball the answer from the whole class, and everyone's giving the answer. So, but whatever answer they give us, we're going to put that in the drawing, and then we discuss how this drawing can be connected, this different point can be connected. So at the end of it, when the drawing grows and the content expanded, the students get to see the whole picture of the concept and all the interactions come into picture. So that is where they see how the theory came up. Yeah, and the very good things I like about this drawing, the drawing concept in teaching this theoretical topic is that we can actually add in any point, any information, anytime, right? Anytime, because the drawing is so flexible. For the drawing part, some part of the drawing is done by me. If my students want to make the drawing, they can also come forth to the front, and so they can take the marker pen and draw wherever they want, wherever they set the point is, where how they are going to join the point. So that's the way how we're going to recreate the new knowledge of the theory based on what they already know, the prior knowledge. Right, this is some of the examples of the picture that we drew in the class. Yeah, this is the example of the recreation, the co-creation of me and my students. Some of the drawings come from my students. Yeah, so normally when this class happens, this kind of activities happen, students, you will see students coming nearer to the board because they cannot just sit at the back anymore. In the beginning of the class, especially in the beginning semester, when we ask the students to sit, come forth and sit, try to occupy the few front rows. The first and second and third row. You know that they define the front rows very differently from us. They're going to define the front row at the back. That is their front row. But when these activities start to begin and start to take place, you see that students start coming down. You can see the students are sitting here. They start coming down. Every one of them. That is the beginning of the class. Yeah. So the fourth step is that after we did the explanation here, yeah, the solicitation, everything, we did the drawing, everything. So now is the turn for the student to do their work. So this step actually the students going to do sense mapping and matching in small peer learning team with the lecturer as the active mentor, meaning that the role of the lecturers and the students are not the same anymore as with the deductive classroom, right? So peer learning where students will be grouped together, learning together and exchange knowledge. And lectures is normal as somebody who's going to force the knowledge to them, force the theory to their mind, and force them to memorize them for the reason for the sake of exam. But lectures are now going to be very active members working from through the activities. So for this fourth stage, we need a few very cheap things here. As you can see here, we need envelope, and we need definition in small spread pieces. We actually printed the definition and the category. There are 4 categories of theories that we learned that day. So we print out just the name of 4 theories, and all the definitions that fit to this theory, we cut them in separate different pieces. So we cut it differently, and we give them telephone tab, and we have candies. This candies is very useful, especially we use it to randomly group our students into 6 or 7 small teams. The whole things can happen within 4 minutes. So what I do is I already counted the candy, 6 or 7, the same candy. So I just put the candy on the floor or on the table. The student will come and grab one. So everyone who get the same candy is going to group together. So we've done that within 4 to 5 minutes like that, very quickly. And with that, when we do that, actually, we not only we mobilize the student, we get the students to feel excited about the activities. To start to at least get excited in before even they come to the content. So after the first grouping, after that we've done the grouping, so students are given envelope containing these 12 definitions and 4 theory headings. Right? So as you can see here, this is a picture where I actually explain to the students what they can find inside the envelope. Now the sense of this envelope here, actually, I can also go without the envelope, but the envelope will give the students a sense of mission, not accomplishing of some mission. As what they taught me after the end of the class. So students will have to match. What they have to do is that they get the envelope, they have to sit together, and they have to match this definition to the correct theory based on the drawing that we on. Actually, students already took another students WhatsApp group. So they go drawing to let them to catch understand. So this circle we give the student. We want to the sense making process. That sense like that and.
May I interrupt you? Rin, may I interrupt? Your voice is.
Hello?
Can you? Your voice. Few seconds ago, it starts to break for about a few seconds. So, let us check for a while.
Yes.
Give us about 5 seconds.
All
Just
right.
to double check. Thank you. Sorry to interrupt.
Sorry putus. Nanti dia bagi tahu. Network problem. Saya buat letaknya kat sebelah kanan dengar.
Okay. Can we try now? We can proceed
Hello?
now? Yes.
Thank
Okay,
you.
let's try again. Sure. Sorry.
After grouping them, we give them the envelope. So this is where the beginning of the activity. Students have to match definitions to the correct theory based on the drawing that we call created together. And students were asked to circle the keywords which led them to categorize the definition under certain theories. This is actually to actionize their sense-making process. Yeah, because as they continue talking, the points they go off. So once they circle the keywords that we use, they lead them to understand certain topics that that sense-making is very clear there. And also, and after that, the lecturers, when the students are doing the peer learning, among themselves in small groups. So the lecturers are going to move from place to place, from team to team, to give them guidelines and also to give them some clues. This is where the mentoring comes in. And when I see the personal learning and the personal learning in our definition of the context of these studies happening, right? Where the students actually have the very opportunity, each of them have a fair opportunity to be involved in discussions, in heavily actively involved in the activities done. So they are given 30 minutes to do it, and students will ask to spread to different classes inside the classroom. They can go inside and outside the classroom. So we give them this freedom, so that, because all the time always, I cannot stress enough that we want to always find opportunity to make the class something which is not stressful for them. So always, if there's opportunity for fun, always bring it in. If there's any opportunity to make them feel more comfortable, I would bring it in. So this is also the same, that's the same thing. So others go out. Some of them actually go out to outside the classroom, like the sports complex. Sports students, they have a very nice green field where actually you go out and do the work. And science students also, they have a very nice hallway for them to do the work. So those students who cannot do the team work in outside, they have to do it, find a way, creative way how to do it inside the classroom, right? So every team are given telephone tab, and they are asked to creatively group the definition into 4 recognizable categories and then test them in order to present them in the wall. Yeah. So these are some of the activities that students done. This is where I go around to check on them, to discuss with them. This is the activities done by the students themselves. As you can see here, this is really the active learning parts where they not only actively move around actively in terms of physical, but actually are trying to make sense because we have to come up with that category. Yeah? So the next step is 5. After the students have done everything, they put everything together. Some of them put on the wall, some of them presented on a piece of mahjong paper, just like this. The students, some of them on the wall here. And so we start the marking action. So this is the moment of truth. So during this marking process, it is not simply just I giving them the answer. The students have to debate the answer, discuss the answer with me, and we mark the answer. And at the end of it, the students have to count how many actually got it correct. And again, we come to this moment of fun where students took photo with their own outcome and send it to the class WhatsApp group. I told them that if they send to the WhatsApp group, they'll get 1 mark for this activity, part of the assessment also. So they send a WhatsApp group. Not because I need them for record actually, but I want them to feel that the accountability for their work and feel the feeling of establishment, of fulfillment in the work. Yeah? So this is what the student did. So we try to build sense of accomplishment there and excitement. You can see from the face, I have a lot more. And including that also, gifts are given away for the winning teams. As you can see here, these are the science classes, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. These are the 7 teams actually. Some of the 7 teams actually we got all correct for this project, for these activities. But somehow, because we only prepare 3 prizes, so we have to see who actually finished first, which is the first, which is the second, the rest also. From this. And right after the activities, we have the students fill out the surveys, right after the activities, so that the memory is still fresh with them. And this happening when we release the students. Yeah, so this happened just before we release the students. We ask the students to do the same thing again that we did. We asked them to do in the beginning of the class, where they ask them to memorize something, look back, turn back, and then try to recall. Now here, we try to restore the students' confidence, letting them know consciously they can do it. So what I do here is I ask them very basic question about the theory, right? So what I do, I want them to order the theory, the 4 theories that they learn, the name of this theory, in the order from the lowest to the highest. So I ask them to do it slowly to get in the class, and they can narrate. When I count 1, 2, 3, 4, all can narrate. And actually, we have a video of this where the students actually shouting after that because of excitement. Yeah. And so I would like to present to you some of the results that we get from this class. So the scope of presentation actually covers 502 students from over my 5 classes in semester 1, 2019 and 2020 in my Basic Entrepreneurship and Culturation class. So these students actually covers the various faculties and also they range from...
Dr. Irene, 2 minutes left, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay.
This is the result. You can see here, before activity, only 30%. And then After the activity, we see that 92% of the students actually managed to get it correct. Hello? Hello?
Irene?
So should I?
The result section, 92%.
Alright. So
Yeah. You need to share again the slide. Yeah, this one. Towards the end, we lost you towards the end of this slide.
Alright. So this is the one. You see my slide, right?
Yes.
Alright. So this is the result where I ask the student to think, to guess how many they can guess it right, match it right. Only 30% of students will actually think that they can get above 10 right. But at the end of the activity, we find that 95%. Sorry. Okay.
Dr. Irene, are you okay? Dr. Irene? Dengar tak?
Hello?
Hi.
Yes.
Yeah, we lost you again just now.
Yes.
Okay, maybe shall we wrap up towards your?
Yes. All right.
Yes, so sorry about that. Yeah.
It's going to be 2 minutes left. Yeah.
Yeah.
90% of students actually said that this is the first time they learn theoretical concept using this activity like this. But we also want to grab their perception about what they think about it before they start the activities. 88% actually said that they think learning theory is very hard. Yeah. But the result is that after the activities, we found that they say this. More than 99%, 98%, and almost 100% students actually think that learning in this way actually is enjoyable and they actually can understand better. And the explanation is easy for them to understand because the thing has been debunked into small things. Right? So the sample of this, they feel good in the class, they think they talk a lot in the class in terms of discussion, and they're involved in so much of interactive discussion. So the conclusion of it is that I only have 3 points here. The first is that personal learning activities, particularly used for teaching methods, teaching theories, should be designed in combination with other restorative approach, such as the credit confident approach. Okay, such that the learning process would also impart confidence on students, which also would offset the psychological anxiety of students have on theoretical materials content. The second thing is that now, while the current study actually heightened the use of memory building versus memorizations for the learning theoretical topic, now the study does not impugn the usefulness of memorization as a learning method because, as you can see here, according to educational psychology, when students are interested in the subject, so the ability to learn actually greatly increase and they have more focus, tenacity, and also engagement and also investment in the material itself. So what we do is we have to whet the students' appetite for the information to set them up to go after the answer with a sense of hunger and curiosity. So this is what we are intending for this project. They're not to replace the memorizations. So we want to hook the student interest at the very beginning, where these loss of interest, loss of confidence can happen very quickly. And actually, after this part of the initial work, the students actually the memorization actually can take place to build in more complex knowledge. Yeah, so this is the second one. The third one is in learning something which is very stressful, something which is obviously difficult for students, we should use every possible ways to de-stress the students and also the classroom. So we do interest, we pick curiosity of students, we build familiarity, we create space for students to have their own me time when they take the WhatsApp, the photo, all those things. Create opportunity to address emotional needs like feeling of accomplishment, excitement, right? And of course, it's not compulsory, but we can provide prizes for them as a way of encouragement to the students for the next class. Alright, so with that all, I close with this special remark. A lot of care behind the scenes actually make great contents possible. So with that, thank you.
Okay, Dr. Irene, thank you so much for your sharing. It's really a crucial findings and recommendation that you made, because dealing with large classroom is not easy. So the effort that you put in and the innovation that you have shared with us is really nice, and I hope a lot of us can learn from you and could see the effect on them being able to make the complex memory formation. So I really appreciate that. May I ask how many lecturers were involved in? Were you able to do this alone, or did you need a lot of help?
With help. I cannot do this alone. Somebody have to do the camera work. Somebody have to come and to check the students, to work around.
So it's really important to have support from your peer colleagues to handle the large classroom.
Yes.
Yeah, these are the recommendations that we'd really like to push forward to all the lecturers who are handling large classrooms. It is a different skill set altogether, I must say. We have one question. Let me try to read it. Okay. Question sounds like this. How could this approach be applied to other contexts of classroom learning? Any opinion from you?
How again?
How can this approach be applied to other contexts of classroom learning?
Okay. Actually, this project, these activities is specifically designed for those classes that's teaching theory. So I think that any classes teaching theory which involve meticulous content, a lot of factual things, abstruse concept, they can apply this. What the lecturer have to do is that they have to put in the effort to see how to pick up the points, the important points, so that when they do the drawing part of the project, the lecturers can actually easily improvise from the students' comments, from the students' opinions, and also from the students' points, and integrate them back to the main point that we have. So the work is in improvising it and integrating at the same time. So any other courses with theories involving concepts, the more concept, the better is it actually. The more difficult, the better. And it should be applicable for other courses. So this is one of the generalization actually that we can have for this project, a part of the contribution.
So I really hope that you will be able to share the full steps and the findings of your study with the rest of UM community. Thank you so much for the big classroom research, and I applaud you for your effort. I must say, or I must announce to all of our participants that Dr. Irene is the lucky number 101, which is since we launched LITEC in 2016, we have had 101 projects being presented in LITEC. So a big applaud to all of us. And coincidentally, Dr. Irene is the presenter number 101. So, yay! So thank you so much. Yeah. So the other nice announcement I have is to share with all of you presenters and LITERians of 2019/2020 is about our awards. So for our presenters, just to let you know that dear presenters, panel of reviewers and ADAC will be taking some time to evaluate your presentations to decide the recipients of gold, silver and bronze medals of LITEC 2020. A total of 22 medals will be awarded, 5 gold, 7 silver, and 10 bronze. Winners will be announced in ADAC's website, which is at adac.um.edu.my, and on Info on the 7th of September, that's a Monday, inshallah. Winners will be informed as well via email. So the medals and the certificates will be available to be collected at ADAC's office in High Impact Research Building on the 14th of September onwards. So when you come over, if by chance you are one of the lucky ones, please come worthy of a photo shoot, if I may say, put it that way. So we would like to have a little photo session with you as well during the collection of the medals and the awards, because we can't have a nice ceremony. So a little sneak peek, if I could share with you guys, supporting the sustainability effort from So this will be the gold award. Let me try to put it up. Gold, our silver, and our bronze. Okay, so nice kan? So we will look forward to the results announcement, and as you know, our reviewers are online and they are reviewing all your sessions, and we will gather the feedback after this. So congratulations to everybody for completing the project and for being able to share all your findings and innovations and your heart and soul that you have put into the project with your students. I'm sure the party that benefited the most at the end of the day are the students themselves. I always believe that if from the whole batch, you may have 20 lecturers teaching the whole batch, but even if one lecturer or 2 lecturers are doing this, it will make a big impact to the whole undergraduate or the master's degree program that they go through with us in University of Malaya. So with that, I would like to conclude our morning session of day 3 on link 5. We will be seeing each other again after lunch at 2 o'clock at the other link. The other link is bit.ly/LITEC 2020_link 6. And there we will be having our final speaker, Dr. Hilmi Norman, and our big plenary forum moderated by Dr. Amira Sariati and 3 other panelists, leaders of teaching and learning in Malaysia. So we will see you again at 2 p.m. Enjoy your lunch and see you.